You ever seen that? Forced into a sitcom?
Yeah.
He's already looking at me.
Oh, never is. There's some of them that are actually classic. Just a little.
Yeah.
Too water for me.
Well.
Very good, very good. Was pretty good.
Everybody else, we're getting on the
How long did that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Proceeds.
Well, there's so behind.
I saw my first actor crop.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've never seen them switching that. Yeah, I thought the same was supposed to be. Yeah, I thought the same was supposed to be right. Yeah, that's gonna go home. Try and shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff, power lines in the cars.
Yeah, we're doing a lot. For solar feed.
Other than the transmission.
Oh, okay.
Shut up. Oh, you don't know, that's somebody did.
So we are, 32,403. 32,403 cellular telephone. Okay. Okay, we have, Fisher's budget is 5,000, we've increased that to 5,500. And we're on pace for the rest of this year. We're going to spend $4,986. So as I look at this, I'm going to suggest that we cut that $300. Okay? Postage meter, we've got that the same. Training and expenses the same. Attorney. Now your guess is as good as mine on what that's going to be. This is for our attorney from Indianapolis, and we've got 20,000 in there. That may be plenty. That may be very, very short. You can look to the right there and see what we spent the last few years. And this year, we've already spent about 31,000. So that may be very, very short, but who knows what's going to happen this next year. I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm hoping it's about over. But, I don't know.
Say because of this, other entities stuff that takes over.
I don't want to say much more, but, so we may have to come back and ask for additional appropriation on this, but if you're okay,
The
let's.
last few months hasn't been too bad. The last few months hasn't
No,
been too bad.
no, that's correct. Legal notices, 7,000. So far, we've only spent 1,500. Patty, what do you think? Can we cut that or keep it the same? For the year, it was about 3,000, but, last year was 6,300, year before 4,000, so.
Don't have as many newspapers we used to have.
What?
Don't have as many newspapers.
Have one, used to have two, one now.
We still advertise our additional.
Well, yeah, I know that, but only the one instead of two is probably.
Yeah.
So if I'm paying,
So could we cut that maybe a
They're
couple
priced.
thousand?
Do you want?
Cut that two or 3,000?
So that is 5,000.
5,000.
Let's cut 2,000 off, okay? I think we can do that. Tax sale cost, we increased that to 33,000. Last time we had one was 32.5, so we're pretty close. Commissioner sale, minus 40,000. Okay? Bonds the same?
Wait a minute. Minus 40,000.
Yes.
What determines that?
Every other year. Depends on how many parcels we
It's
have.
odd, it's odd years.
On insurance, I have no idea. We have no idea. We've built in basically a 10% increase. Last year, I think it was 16%. We will not be getting this bill until the middle of next month. And so I'm not for sure. Like I said, we put an increase of 10% in. I'm hoping that's sufficient, but I don't know. Don't know.
I don't have any confidence it will be less than that.
Underground tank deductible, that's something we have to have. ADA maintenance, 10,000. I know we got some things that we want to spend money on through, Rob Gamble. He's our, ADA, director. And I know that we've got some things that we want to spend money on this rest of this year. So we kept that at 10,000 for next year because I'm not sure what's going to be coming down the pipe on that. Code Red, this is something new. $5,500. As you may or may not recall, that's something we initiated this past year that to alert anybody that has a cell phone, email, if they will sign up, then they're automatically alerted with a potential tornado. We can use this also for if we have a very, very dangerous situation in Clay County, hostage situation, we can put that out.
Nuclear war.
Do one.
Nuclear war.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes. I don't know that probably.
But it's something that we felt like was needed, and I know many counties have gone to this, and so far it's worked out great, at least speaking for myself, I know I get all the messages now, and hopefully you do too if you've signed up. And I think it's something that for $5,500 is very worthwhile for the citizens of Clay County.
We had several requests for tornado sirens, and they just don't work. I mean, and one siren's like $40,000. So, and if you're doing good recovery.
Did Clay City put one on top of the water tower?
I don't know if you did or not.
Why not?
Like, what I did.
In Center Point, it was at the firehouse. And if you had a storm going on the west end of town, you would not hear it going off in Center Point. So, like I say, I had a lot of people out in rural areas asking for it, and this was by far the cheapest way to go.
Where do you sign up for?
Yeah, so.
Rob Gamble can,
Does he
he's got,
advertise it?
He put out information earlier, how to sign up, I know.
That's on the website.
A lot of
Website.
I got some sort of a notice somewhere.
You're not signed up?
I thought it was,
I didn't know anything about it, I was just wondering, do you have a record of how many people signed up? I think,
Rob would have, yes.
I'm not so sure it's been advertised.
One of the
oh, it's been in the paper and, it's on, like I
I
say,
don't know, Jason's checked out.
yeah, not sure.
And we've had in the paper a couple times and
I see
other
the
places.
places on the Clay County Zoom chat on Facebook.
Yeah. But it's on the county website too.
On the county website?
Yes.
Okay.
Under the EMA section.
Do you have any questions on Code Red? Okay, going down below, senior citizens, the same. West Central Indiana Economic Development, area, $12,000 was put in by us as an estimate because we did not get these figures, from Ryan Keller until yesterday. And so the amount for this next year is $11,017. And so we can cut that by $983. We can cut that by $983, okay? The next one is for the aging, against disabled people and so on. We put in 8,500, the actual cost or money he's requesting is $7,617. We can cut that $883. We cut that $883.
So it's the same as it was last year. 7,000.
Yes. That is correct. One above would be the same. We had automatically increased it thinking it would go up. Okay, West Central Bus. That's, if you recall, that's something we approved last year. And we put in 50,000. The actual cost is 46,275. 46,275. So we can cut $3,725. Cut $3,725.
Didn't we do additionals for that this year?
Yes.
Find that out.
Yes.
That shouldn't it show over here in the actuals?
It was paid in July, and this is to June.
That was like March, we did those additions, wasn't it?
It wasn't paid out until July.
It didn't get paid out.
Catherine Hamilton, 155,500. Humane Society, we increased that $1,000, 33,000 to 34,000. We've been increasing that normally about $1,000 a year. But we did not increase it any last year because we had given them ARPA money for a building.
So Catherine Hamilton's dead, I know that, okay.
What? What was your
Catherine
question?
Hamilton's dead, but no, actually Catherine Ham Shirley is dead. Catherine Hamilton Center, they had legislation this last time, so that we can change that to whatever we want. Last year.
Who can we change to?
Well, I have been told that Hardship could do it. And there's another one that they use in Owen and Monroe County, I can't remember what it is.
You guys need to look into that.
Just FYI.
Go back to the code, right? We don't have it on the county site yet. We'll get that information from Rob, but it is on his EMA Facebook page for the sign-up
So
information.
it's not on the county side.
Not yet. We'll get it for the firm. I'll give it to Rob and get that info.
I have a question on the Humane Society, and that's for the sheriff's office calls, problem, animal.
That's basically for everything contained to the county, yes.
To kill it, but here recently, I mean, it seems like they're full all the time, you can't take anything. What is, I left problems I had at Bryce, but I don't feel like, and I have to talk to Bryce to see what he's had, because, yeah, I said, don't get me wrong, I love the base society, it's a good function, but when you're paying it, and can't get animals in there or not answering or responding, what do we pay?
Well, we have packing dogs out in our area, and they just tracked them by their complaints because they were always full up. So they just kind of kept track of where they were, and
So they can tell you, hey, that was the dog that tore up your stuff last night.
yeah, those dogs that attacked the cattle, and but yeah, that was about all I got out of them was they were tracking where that pack of dogs was.
Paul, you probably answer this. We pay we pay Thrive for just a membership fee almost, and then we also pay for the bus. So how does that all work? How does it all play out?
The 46,000 basically is to have partial payment for the Thrive buses that is being run in Clay County, in different parts of the county, to pick up people to go to Walmart, to go to the grocery store, to go to the doctor's office, and so on.
But they get grant money, but we don't pay the full price.
And I think the city of Brazil, puts money into this as well, I think. Not sure.
And they have their own grant columns that they put in. Thrive operates almost completely from grants by the state and federal government.
Yes,
And they, in return for doing specific projects, sometimes they get paid by localities.
Like us, we're doing, what you were talking about, the two different things.
Like they do traffic studies, they do, there's tons of stuff that they do. They're involved in a lot of things. There are aging people, which that's kind of changed the last couple of years. That's West Central was also, that's area 7, aging, it's all Parker Drive.
Larry and Marty are both on the board. I was, and then I gave it up this year when we appointed Marty and replacement.
They also are, like that housing study we did, which we paid in part of that, they did that as part of the whole big deal. And that was, that's why, if you'll notice, there's a line there, last year we gave you 30,500 for that. We don't pay anything that's done now.
So what you're saying with the 46,275 we're paying, there's rent money's paying part of that cost as well. So
Yeah,
if we were paying that out of pocket ourselves,
it'd be a lot more expensive.
I'd be curious to know what that'd be.
Yeah, obviously, we're looking at 150, 200,000.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, probably turns on bus and salaries, et cetera.
Okay, thank you.
If you ever go into Ryan's office, his whole wall is numbers. So he can tell you it's a big,
Mike, back to your question, I'm not sure how severe that problem was. I guess it must be much greater than I realized.
And I mean, it's just, that, I didn't know what type of problems Kathy's had, I know the problems you had out in Niceville. Yeah, just trying to get, you know, ours is primarily cats, yeah, which I understand, being busy. Last night I had a conversation with them about getting an appointment in there, get a cat in their home, well, you guys don't give us any money, well, I get it. Talented donation, but everything probably full, so.
that doesn't seem to matter anyway. I can't do things like that.
But I'm like, okay, so if it's full time, what are we paying? Building. So I said, I know they're necessary. When you have an emergency out there and they don't need an emergency,
Well, there are no kill shelter now, right?
So you're always gonna be wrong.
They're always people.
well, I know, and that didn't used to be way back. And then,
I don't look forward to having to put down ambulance, but I also think we keep them alive.
Well, I think there's a lot of, this doesn't pertain to anything here. I just had an incident right in Blue Heron in my backyard. With, you're going there, they're all morning. I called DNR, they got upstate Indiana. They gave me a phone number, they gave me a phone number to call. This is conservation officer, which was in Terre and I got a voice message and they were called me back. So I got online and started searching for somebody to take care of birds of prey or whatever. Well, I ended up, I got a place in Bloomington. But I was back and forth. This gets really good. So finally, this is what I called. Bob Lovey, our sheriff, Bryson Smart. And he said, I told him information, he said, I'll call you right back. Or somebody. And he told me right back within 2 minutes and said, I got a conservation officer who's going to call you. And he did. And I said, awesome. But he said, I will be coming your way. I think they're going to do it, but I'm going to make a couple of phone calls. But we started this process earlier. The problem is the bird, because what happened was the bird finally takes off. Somebody was on the probably shouldn't have been, came around. So scared the bird and it flew, but we can see it had a bad leg. So we can't save the bird. Whenever it flew away, I called conservation officer that I had his number. And he said, hey, stop in your driveway. I said, well, chances of that, after I some time, is really bad. But he also told me more than what I could ever find out, was that there's people In this area, it takes care, it's not taking care of some of them take care of without related animals. So, you just don't know where the heck to find that stuff. Unless you really, I spent the whole day trying to, it's like, I don't take care of this, we're gonna come out, I should, I don't care.
As I recall, the very first year I was on council, we had issues with meat supply. That's back when they actually still killed, and there was a capacity issue. Just get people, it's never ending problem.
Which is a shame.
We actually did cut their funding one year, and that, we're like,
Yeah,
So you
we
just
put it back.
yeah. We got too much cane there.
Okay, child adult services the same, 4-H program the same, patients institution the same, burial of soldiers, this is what we jack up, move down every year because we don't know. And so, 2 years ago, 3,200, so far this year, 1,500. We asked for 3,500, which is a reduction of 500. If you want to cut that more, I think you could. We don't know. We don't know.
What's that the cost of juveniles?
Count burial,
Oh, very.
Yeah, burial of soldiers.
everything.
So, I think you can cut that maybe a couple thousand if you want
The thing of
to.
it is, if we need it, we're gonna put it back in there, so. Just make it 3,000.
Okay. Change the venue the same, association of county commissioners the same, examination of records the same, historical society the same, genealogical the same, cost of keeping juveniles. We've asked for 40,000, we cut that down we cut it down 7,500. I guess we could cut it down more, but the person that I talked to, Patty, said we ought to keep it the same. The commissioner thought we ought to reduce it a little bit, so we did cut it down 7,500. And, we can cut it more if you want to.
I think we need to leave it the same, as you look back in 23, we spent 47, almost
I know,
$48,000.
I know, and that's gonna vary, it's gonna vary. It's one of those unknowns, okay? That's an unknown.
And that's one of those things you have to have. Got to like me to it.
Council dues, evidently went up $35 from 140 to 175. NACO membership, we cut that $9, make that exactly $529. Bridge work, we went from 300 to 500. Those of you that have been on the council know, new ones, we're going to ask for an increase on that every year because we only have around 26 deficient bridges at the present time that needs to be replaced. We don't have the money to replace them. We don't have the money. And Marty was just telling me earlier that we don't want to get in the same boat as Putnam County because he tells me Putnam County has 8 or 9 roads closed now because of bad bridges. We don't have any roads closed at the present time. We did have, we got a bridge replaced, a couple bridges replaced, we're okay. But as each year goes by, basically what happens, we have to lower the weight limit and eventually we don't have to close the road. So we're not to that point yet, so that's why we always ask for more.
I mean, last year we gave you 300,000.
Yes.
Are you holding that to spend on a particular bridge, or maybe spend it? I guess you just
Yes,
spend
yes,
it.
that's been spent. I replaced a very expensive bridge, Brian had to replace one,
Didn't you have to replace one on Kennedy Crossing?
That was mine.
that was his.
Main being broken.
My mine was down in,
South Court,
where,
South Court,
yes, yeah. That was a rich one,
down the river,
sure was.
that's open up again.
It's great, I mean, they did a super job with it, and, it's great.
That's the one that had the tow bathroom.
Yeah, down in that area. Not Tactile,
That's close.
that was called the reservoir area,
It's closed for several years, though.
so bad,
Yeah.
so it is.
Oh, it still is,
Yeah.
okay. So it's the one over by the bridge?
Yeah. So that's the reason why we increased that to 200, and again, it's up to you what you want to do with it, okay?
Let's
We
make
understand
it,
that.
let's make it 400. Open up another 100,000.
How many
bridges that place was fixed.
Only half of them.
Half of them.
Half of them, one and a half maybe.
They merge with other, because they got cumulative grade fund and sometimes we'll take it out if we have development, we have extra in there.
Well, Paul's Bridge was, what, 890-some thousand?
786.
786.
And it was a larger bridge down by the river and the other big creek running into it, and it was a
I
mess.
used to live in a bridge, but the bed down by the river.
What was yours, Brian?
Right. Oh, it's across the river bridge.
The bridge, 250, right around there.
This is cheap.
I had one bid a year and a half ago, but then these guys took all the money, but it was 186,000, so I'm sure it'd be over 200 now.
Well, there's 400.
Well, you see, mine was just right north of the school, so I didn't get that one. That was an important one, you know. you did it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was a very important route right there. A lot of traffic across that bridge today.
You guys, I don't know yourselves about what you're gonna do with it, we'll give you the money, but you find it on yourselves, but. Unless it's on my road. I live on a highway, so.
You know what's funny with that bridge of mine? There's a pickup truck, they had 2 loads of riprap on both sides of the road, but he jumped the riprap and ran halfway across the bridge. He had been running 90 mile an hour. I got pictures of the truck halfway across the bridge.
The bridge was out,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was that close.
Yeah.
his name Bo. Bo.
Yeah, I got a picture.
The truck just bit and that.
Lost a big trucks, I'm not terrible.
Strange people out there, I'm sorry.
Boy, did Jerry Lee could make that. All right, well, I think that's all we can do for you guys right now. Thanks, Paul.
We'll do that.
You're not a bad man.
Brian Scott, though. Like Scott.
Sure.
The only real big change is done, if you want to call it change, on the telephone and the internet. Used to, we had strictly Frontier for telephones, and then we had Sparklight for internet, but now we get both from Sparklight. The telephone bill for Sparklight is now less than our internet bill. So it's flip-flop, and then by the end of, well, halfway through the year, they transfer from internet to telephone, or from telephone to internet, to make it right. The only thing I'm doing, I'm not really adding anything, I'm just making the numbers right, so that I can do a transfer on them. As far as, your hardware and stuff, I'm just trying to go up with bump up a little bit with the rising cost and everything else. Yeah.
So that internet price, that's what your actual cost is. Would be this year.
Internet cost, right here. Yeah, our internet's, $700. And actually, it's funny because we were paying, 2 years ago, we was paying $1,000 for 100 meg up and down, which, you know, it's not today. We renegotiated that early last year, so now we got 2.5 times that speed and $300 less a month, so.
Well, I'm looking at it, that 404 line, it says internet, 13,940.
Yeah, because we've still got a line down at the extension office, because we use, that goes in with this, I think it's 100. But we use that for their telephone service. They get their phone service from the bill. We couldn't keep, we had Frontier service down there, we had 4 lines, we couldn't keep them running. Was it 3 years ago, before each first starts, no telephone service there. Because, so, we finally said heck with it, and we took it out of Frontier teams. bid ourselves.
So that includes, so that's your 700 plus what we charge for them, and then what else?
Yeah, the actual phone service, I think is, $450 a month. Because we pay for, it's $400.
$400, so you got telephone, line 400, oh, you got internet,
Right.
line 444.
The internet, that takes care of our internet and the extension office. The telephone service, that's just for out. We still have to, right now, we still have 2 POTS lines through Frontier, which we're gonna migrate them out, put them in. We will put them into our, what we call our SIP triangle. And then we'll absorb that place too. That will go, so my goal is to get rid of Frontier, but, you know, working my way there. If I can make my
That old landline somewhere.
we've got 2 that we use for faxes, just for back. But now they want, it's almost $75 per old POTS line. I'm like, that's ridiculous. They all look virtually different by now. I mean, even if you don't have phone service, you still got problems. If you don't have a problem, you still got to provide you with 911. It's like, yeah, but $75 for a complaint on telephone. So we're gonna have to work on, everyone's got a cell phone, so. And then that should shave off about almost 200 a month. This was another huge number. As a lot. 3031. At least, it was, yeah, but I'll be like, okay, 1,600. If the perk still picks up again, she's trying to leave it. Okay, that's, that's where we're supposed to go here. Yeah, about this, it's a week, it's about 1,500.
Okay, so,
Hang on there.
sorry.
We do that.
He doesn't have anything down for the training.
We need a person.
We need to, he's had that is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was on my sheet.
Thing of it is, you can't exceed the budget, so you cut anything here.
How much do you need for that? For day shredding? Yeah. He's around. Since we're picking up. First office.
Yeah. 21.
They're around.
So we can cut off, here's what I was suggesting, okay? We were just talking about this, so office supplies takes you back down to where we were last year.
Okay.
And then when you see if you're gonna run out of money, just come back and get an additional.
Yeah.
Because we also, you put 3% raises on these. Well, let's do it for a second. So if we gave you more than 3%,
We did everybody.
everybody more, then
Yeah.
we wouldn't have enough room in your budget to do it. So we need to cut some.
Let me take a trip back about a few months ago. When we did our summer form, about like what our budget, what our pay is gonna be for next year, I always just put this in the map. Because, I mean, we know how the races work, they usually go across the board. I never put one in. Then I got, then basically I lost a couple pounds of blood because I wasn't put in. Whereas I got told that at that time, I got told if I did put something, and then if it did get raises, you got to have it. That's already legit. I don't think you know.
Oh, we didn't want you to, but we were saying if we would give 4%, we want to cut something in case we want to give her 4%.
That's, you put in 3, but if we, I'm not saying that's what we're gonna do, but one.
And it may be 0, we don't know.
Yeah, no, I could be too. I didn't trust
And
me.
we might not get it, I don't know.
I'm still on. Yeah.
So, that's kind of, you know, when I thought about that, there's a couple different people who've done that. something to keep in mind in future budgets. Not saying that we're always going to get a raise, but you always put one in there, because if you don't put it in there, we can't give it to you if you didn't
Well,
put it in there.
I'll be honest, I had a really hard time writing that down when I was turning it in, so.
Well, you had an interesting year, I understand that with all the stuff, yours is different than what you call it.
So we're moving office supplies back to 40,000?
Yes,
Yeah.
and then add in that 2,100 for data sharing.
And like I said, I'll have some play in the budget.
Yeah.
too, so.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I just bumped them up a little bit just because, like I said, price of everything's been. I'm hoping. if
How
we-
is that still going well though, as far as that whole central?
I think it is.
Have you got one of your new folks helping do that now?
No, I'm still,
That wasn't the plan.
no, it makes it the last, like,
So much easier to do that. Yeah.
that's about 2 months too soon. I forgot where we're going with this. We'll keep putting it back to the so what else was I trying to find?
Something about your assistants helping.
Oh, what was it? But yeah, like the office supplies, it's just one of those things that I know that. I've been
It's your
doing it.
baby.
Yeah.
The problem
But the
is,
nice part is when I come back to my office, instead of having a list of things to go fix, he's usually got her go take care of it. That's where it's coming at. This is the weirdest thing for me because if I go to the jail for an hour or two, and I come back, I expect to have 3, 4, 5 phone calls. I come back, they'll take care of it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
the one thing to always keep in mind though, is anytime you're doing something, you're the only one doing that. But
Yeah.
you decide to go on the professional bowlers for something,
Yeah. I'm too old for that.
I mean, you're out.
Actually,
Would you
Jennifer,
reach out to bowling?
Jennifer was, supposed to my backup, do a seniors tour. Actually,
Earl Anthony bowled something.
he died early.
Yeah, he did that.
We keeping backup stuff back down and everything. Yeah, storing 1 month's worth of the, Google Cloud. Not their G Drive, but their corporate, it's being stored in West Virginia. So that's, offsite location, so we can choose anywhere across the states when you do it. Not just ours in West Virginia right now. But it costs, right now, it costs for what we push out there, pushing data up to that, the cloud is easy. It's about $50 a month to put it up there, back up there. It's when you retrieve it, that's when it's going negative. Because it's about almost 4 times more, 4 times more price to pull it down. So
So it's purely there just in case of emergency.
that's my great class. And, yeah. We've got, like I said,
I mean, I
back
actually did that, and all my stuff is I can pull or push.
Yeah, now, like I said, I pull it down, but, charge an extra bit of that. But yeah, we've got a local repository for the backends. Those are daily. And then once not, I take a copy of that. We should have some, stuff. It's not like a father-grandfather system. So,
What's your assistant's name again?
right now. And, he's been with us 4 or 5 months now.
Yes.
He's already blessed. Yeah. So, I tell you what, hey, I gotta watch what I say, it's this. He's a kid's sponge. I show him once, show him twice, he's gonna ask him again next week. Regurgitate whatever I tell him. I mean, he's definitely
Goes home, right?
first one we graduated.
Creating.
They don't just let anybody out.
You're creating another Scott building.
I don't know about that.
I don't know how to handle that.
I don't think goals.
Is he happy?
He seems to be happy. We've had a talk about that. I said, now, I'll help you out any way I can. But you don't know what I know. It's only 2 of us, there's not gonna be secrets. I said, but I don't wanna train you for 2-3 years, get some time under your belt, and pop off to Indianapolis, meet with us. He has, what he's told me, he's got no aspirations of moving out of town, so I'm hoping to keep him, and then, like I said, in a few years, he's steps into.
He's smart enough to understand how much he can make.
Yeah.
So if he's satisfied now,
Yeah, but a lot of people just want to be here.
not everybody's in it for the money.
Yeah, he's the real type of sports. So he's not gonna go far. But yeah, like I said, I cannot express my gratitude for everything you guys done for me last year. I was trying to
That goes both ways. He's done a lot for us.
I always say I try my best, and I think I'm bored with what you give me, so. It's skills.
I think that's it, just Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, courthouse schedule.
Okay, again, first of all, let me introduce, in case somebody does not know, this is Annette Walden, our head custodian, and this is Tony Bills, our head maintenance person over at the Clinton County Justice Center, okay? So we invited him to come be with us today. As I started to say, all the employees can put in 4%, so let's go down about a third of the way to supplies.
Let me interrupt you there, Paul, right quick. We have been discussing for over at the Justice Center, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This next year, we've got somebody that's going to become available to come and work as a mechanic. And this next year, we'll probably be looking to add another full-time position as a mechanic in the jail, because they're building up a lot of comp time during the nighttime and that sort of thing. So we just want to let you know, coming next year, we're probably going to be coming and asking for an additional to add a mechanic over there.
You would eliminate the part-time person, right?
At the current time, it's already set up to have 2 part-time and 2 full-time. We have not filled the part-time position besides the original part-time gentleman that's been there for however long he's been there. But the time that he is there, his time is dwindling away very rapidly.
His health is failing.
I do know he has signed up for Social Security as of now. When he is there, the gentleman that we are looking to hire on full-time, he's the one doing the work. He's there, so. That is what we're looking at. In the future.
It's kind of one of those paid now, paid later things, because you got comp time. So maybe you gotta go back and use that person, will literally take all that comp time, get paid all the time. Or right, pay up front for the comp time. And you gotta have somebody actually working. To be able to,
And we don't want to wear out the crew we got.
That's number one. And number two is, if there's any mistake that was made in the first new jail, the actual original, the jail expansion. Because that we didn't keep up on maintenance, and it's cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Absolutely. And a lot of it was not because we didn't want to, because we didn't have personnel in place to do it, we didn't even realize what we were doing. And found, quite honestly, when Tony came along and maybe it seemed like somebody else was in there in the middle, that we started going, you know, this is really, it's supposed to have been done a long time ago, but it wasn't done. And this and that, and how many directors we put in, just different things.
Well, we've got two very good maintenance personnel. I mean, as far as the directors of maintenance, Annette and Tony, and the full-time guy across the street, he's doing a fantastic job. Of course, Christina here does a magnificent job. I don't see how these girls keep up with everything here at the courthouse. Because I heard that at one point there were 7 custodians here in the courthouse and on the grounds. Now we have 2 and a part-time. And Nick was just telling us our part-time just turned in his notice to leave at the end of the year. So, but we've got some fantastic people that work really hard to make the county look good. So,
Now, I will say this, that, so, put in a raise for you. We're all willing to give it to you, but you gotta put code 0 in the machine out here. No code, I don't care about something like that code, but I'm not one of them. I have code 0. It's the second leading selling product out there. So I only know that because I'm code stock, so it doesn't stop.
Now, we would hope that you would give consideration to another full-time person, because we do have a facility over there that we really need to take care of. I hate to say this, but Tony is still working on some things in our present old jail, trying to get them up, running right. We're not caught up yet, to be honest with you. I hate to say that, but being honest with you. And so, you know, additional help, if we get up here at this level and get it where it needs to be and keep it there, we're going to be ahead in many ways, especially financially.
And if you add those 2 facilities together, you're talking about $45 million worth of
So is your additions put in the budget here, which we're requesting, as far as additional help?
No. So it's not in there. Not in there for a couple of reasons. First of all, we really need to know what your feelings would be. Secondly, if we put it in there, what does it do? Jacks budget up, and you don't want that.
You want to get the budget balanced now. We can deal with that
Exactly.
later. We know we have funds, but that's not the way budgeting works sometimes.
Okay, supplies, the same. Jail supplies, we cut that $10,000 from $30,000 to $20,000. HVAC, we kept that the same. Jail mechanical maintenance, we raised that $20,000 on Tony's recommendation from $30,000 to $50,000. Mileage the same. Generator, we increased $600 because we thought we would need some additional funds for that. Utilities, we're increasing that $1,800 to $7,800. And I hate to say this, but Patty's been doing some work, and it's not good. We're going to be giving you a big request next month for additional for utilities. Okay, we're running way behind. From the jail and courthouse extension office, okay? Utilities courthouse, we've increased that from $60,000 to $92,000. And looking at this, we might be able to cut that a little bit. For the year, for this year, for utilities for the courthouse, in the last 6 months, the same as the first 6 months, $75,862. So we could cut that a little bit, we need to cut
Cut
it.
it down to $80,000.
Do we want to cut it down? Because what's the water increase? How much, Brazil City water increase in sewage has not quite a bit.
And one of the reasons why we jacked it up, the rumor was, you know, at one point Duke was raising their rates by 18%, I think. And so that's one of the reasons, another reason why we jacked it up more than what we did. Or maybe should have, I don't know. I don't think Duke got their 18%, did they?
No.
So, So, again, one is, like I said, 75,000, you wanna go 80,000?
Let's go to 85.
85, okay. Let's go back to utilities at the extension office. For the year, at the present rate, it's gonna cost us $6,958. $6,958, so we could cut that. I mean, 500?
Yeah.
You want to?
73.
Cut that 573?
I mean, how much of that's electric?
Much of it.
Just to increase the electric rate, let's go to 8,000.
Really just add air conditioning to the one building, so it's increase.
That's true too. How about that?
I probably just ought to leave it alone.
Okay, 7,800, okay.
Utilities department, hang on, the health department had utilities in here too.
This is
Oh, this
extension.
is the extension office.
Yeah.
Extension office. Okay, utilities in jail. We're really gonna be short there. For the year, at the present rate, we're gonna spend $448,602. $448,602. And the budget for this year is $315. We've increased that next year to $468, which is an increase of $153,000. Now, if you think that's too much, we'll cut it back, okay?
The major spending base, not that much.
I mean, I hate to
Unless we get another
present this,
year.
but. What do you think?
Cut it to 460,000 maybe. But
Okay,
we might end up having to do it, which we did this year.
They can grant that for an addition, sounds like.
460,000, okay, that's okay. Pest control, 4,000. Courthouse repairs, 20,000. Maintenance and tools, 1,000. Health department repairs, 750. Jail repairs, we cut that 10,000. Jail repairs, we cut that from 25 to 15,000. Elevator maintenance, 3. Trash hauling, we increased that 10,000. We just got more stuff, okay? Moved into jail. Got more. At the present rate, for this year, we're gonna spend $44,500. And I can see that going up a little bit more next year, so 44,500. If you wanna cut that 2,000 or 3,000, I think we could.
On the trash hall.
Yes. We've increased it 10,000. I really think we need to increase it to probably,
We took it to 48, Paul.
okay? You're 1,000, okay, 48.
So elevator maintenance, just get that the same, right, even though.
At the present time, yes.
Way more than that.
Well, maybe it's just take that.
I'd like to put an asterisk on that courthouse repairs. That's only 20,000 because we're gonna have a new elevator that needs to be taken care of this next year. I mean, we've already had major problems with this one that was put in what year, Net, 1960, 60 something. And, and the cost of that was over 200,000, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was over 200,000. Of course, we just completed the roof, which was 489,000.
For apartment funds on that.
Yes. Also, one of our major needs is to get some tuck pointing done on the exterior of the courthouse. If we don't, we're gonna have some major damage.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, tuck pointing, you're looking at $750,000, or $1 million. Windows, we're looking at another 700,000, and the doors were 115 or 20,000. So, if we find a money tree, we got a place to spend it, so.
Yeah, Brad Pell is strongly recommending to us that we use some tuck pointing. As I said, otherwise, it's really gonna cost us more down the road.
What is that?
It's the bricks.
Oh, okay. And it's not so bad at the bottom, it's the top, when they got up there with the lifts. It's really worn out up there.
So the new elevator is 200,000?
It's over 200,000 right in that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot more than 200,000 probably. Because when they gave us, the quote on it, I think it was 111,000, that was their portion of it. They, had a list in there, work by others. I've never replaced an elevator, so I wasn't sure what that meant, I just thought other work that they would have someone else do. It was work by others was work that we had to get someone else to do. Because the code on the elevators from 2007, we would have to bring it up to code now, you know. We're not up to code right now on the elevator. I mean, we're up to where we were, but if we replace it, we have to bring it up. Does that make sense?
Anytime you replace them, you're supposed to meet the new codes.
Yes. They recommended Garmin or someone like that to do the work by, yeah, or by others, yeah.
Not far they taking it down, I mean, they're taking the car out, all the carriage, everything, and then put it all new back.
No. No, they would just be replacing mostly the mechanical part of it, it'd be the same car. It would be resurfaced, but it'd be the same car. It's the mechanical part of it. Or electrical doesn't meet the current code. You have to have a self-closing, self-locking door put in the basement. So it's gotta have its own room. It's gonna be a lot.
All the standards would have to be updated to new steel.
Yeah, I understood that, I just didn't know if it was gonna be a complete replace or we used to do for the gym. Yep. For 600,000.
See, one of the things we have to be careful of in this courthouse, with doors and windows and so on, this is a historical building.
Sure.
And so we have to be careful, and quite frankly, it's gonna cost us more money, okay?
I have a couple of contractors that I can share with you guys as far as the tuck pointing goes, and then also even the electrical stuff for the. That'd be great.
So that's the bad news.
We can do all that in 1 year, so.
Just can't get it probably, you know, so that's probably what it's probably the years that I can count. You've got a problem.
Yeah, Tony, is there anything you want to say?
I think you guys did good job.
You guys want to say it's coming good? Hard to say, it's coming good.
Oh, yeah, I mentioned it. I said, we are very blessed. We are very blessed, to have a net.
They trust you, I trust you, that's all I say. I already knew the answer. Never say things like that if you don't know the answer, so. No reason to look at it.
Now, there's a lot of things that used to be subcontracted out that Tony takes care of over there. Welding, repairing, all sorts of stuff,
I
so.
know many of the conversations we've had through the years, well, we can have so-and-so come in and do this, and it's always a lot. It's as much as, when you think about it, okay, we've had a big number start right here. Well, you know, some of those $200,000-300,000 numbers, we had someone there full time, that's what they did. Might not have had to spend the $200,000 to $300,000 to fix it, so.
a lot of them are taking care of problems before they really develop, like in our major problems.
I can't remember any time that we've had people that knew what they were doing in certain areas that haven't ended. I think Scott Hills has made this county way more good. There are lots of people who really probably fall under that category. And their values that are exceeding what we actually pay. I've been here too long. I remember all the nightmares we had IT before we hired Scott. It was a nightmare. You remember that?
I didn't see it over.
Stuff used to walk out the door.
Mike Johnson.
I mean, good people are worth the weight of.
Absolutely. That's one thing in the future that I'm looking at the jail, this company they're working on the upgrades right now. They're also bringing in analytics into their business. And they're working on a couple schools right now. I'd like to bring them into the jail starting maybe next year. I'm kind of excited about getting that project and letting them get their feet a little wetter, let them get these schools completed, and then we'll bring them over and give us a
Assessment.
yeah, and pop us into the more, give us a little more overview of it. That way we can have a little more feel, and we'll know that, hey, this motor, we need to get ready, get a new one bought, it's not ready to go out here, kind of get us some prep, and just get us a little feel, be prepared for stuff.
So just as mentioning assessments, the commissioners approved yesterday to have Verigy, their, what do you want to call them, Paul?
Engineering assessment company.
Yeah, they come in and do an assessment, and then they'll make recommendations for solar or, any place like that they can help to cut our costs. So the assessment is free, and then, if we hire them after that, there's guarantees on the amount of return on investment. And so that's just something we're looking at to maybe cut some of these utility costs.
I will just tell you, the whole country is going to have a major power range because of AI. You don't realize that tremendous amounts of power to do that. We have a declining workforce, believe it or not. Demographics are against us. There's not enough people with hiring jobs. People worry about losing jobs because of AI. Well, the reason AI is being developed because we don't have enough people taking jobs available now. And so it's going to require a lot of energy. I think utilities going forward will be a huge cost for all of us. For your house,
Buy
for
stock.
your business, for your livestock. Do what?
You saying buy stock
An AI?
in energy?
Well, both of those things. You'd like to look at my portfolio and show you that I have a significant amount invested in those two things. So if I'm wrong, we'll be broke too. So, no, I'll be okay. I do have significant amounts. So anyway, it's a big deal. They actually believe that energy demand in the United States in the next 10 years is going to go up by 8 times. So all the power plants we have today are only producing 1/8 of what we need. It's a problem. And when there's a lack of supply and abundant demand, what's that tell you? Economically, prices go.
Redevelopment.
Yep. Well, we have land.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. Code zero.
Yeah.
Raise the big pin.
I got it.
Okay, now. Yes, that's great. Yeah, how about that, man?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Sandy's had another heart attack, so Tom couldn't be here, so he sent his new right-hand man in Lance over her still current yield. come in and explain the reason all the commission. It's a pretty simple budget, but we start at the very top here, professional services, $5,000. Secretary went up just a little bit, which that is Patty, right? Correct. It goes to that. Board members went up $300. Legal fees and services the same. Really, the only thing you really need to address, I mean, I understand board members went up $30, that's like, how many board members are there?
We increased it to $5.
Yeah, $5, that's what I was thinking, I just want to make sure I have not a huge increase in demand there, and they do volunteer all over the time, so. Professional services, $5,000, that's a significant increase, and that is typically attorneys.
That one has paper telly for the most part.
So that's Lou.
Blue is actually on the first legal fees and services.
Yeah.
6,000 is Blue. And that increase, from the 20 to 28 is pretty well all paper telly. It's prices that went up dramatically. Their prices.
Until, what?
No, but
Paper
Oh,
telly.
Baker Tilly.
Yes,
second
sorry.
page.
Yeah, they're hitting us on every category.
Yeah, every page.
So,
It's blue. So,
part of that, Lou gets paid more because he gets paid a fee to do certain things, but we don't pay it. But lawyer, somebody does.
Yes.
that's not what it is.
Right.
So when they take 35,000, cut it back to 30, I mean, historically, that's 19, 19, 3, and 12 this year.
I think it'll be okay.
And mind you, we haven't used the previous years.
11,703 back to 30.
Yeah. Let's look what's coming up from that level.
Probably pretty good when you get to $5 already. Not doing the thing around.
What funds 1149?
We did on the fees. And they get a rate and stuff.
That's when.
It's not big, so it's done in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't used it in the past, but their fees have went up.
But we still haven't spent a multi-dollar in any year going back to 2023.
Like, you're talking about 111. Additional funds or one in this is different from two. Well, commission.
Legal fees and services here is not paper till, right? That's for Lou.
Yeah, the first one, on the first page, line, second to bottom, that one was explained to me, that one was blue. And then the legal fees, on the second page, would be Baker Tilly.
So what's the,
So the professional services is Baker Tilly, the legal fees and services is Lou. So Lou is 6,000,
Now, what's the 35,000 on the first line of?
Baker Tilly.
No, the first line, 35 is the consultant, it's broke.
Oh, sorry, yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Yes,
that is
the consultant.
that's where I was thinking, wait a minute, that can't be right.
So we want to reduce that to do, how much is work doing right now?
He is, 60 hours, I think is what his contract was for. And he seems to be doing a good job moving forward with that. He has.
I see him all the time, but he's never been redeveloped. For sure, that's the reason
He is,
he does that, whatever he does.
yeah, he is quite involved in the community on several fronts. In April or May, I think it was, he went up to a training.
Ball State.
Ball State, yes, sir. Ball State for the redevelopment classes and so forth up there. Spent a lot of time up there learning a lot of processes.
So we're okay with legal putting that to 30,000?
Well, we can, it's because that's a contract.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, that's a contract. I believe, if I understood Tom correctly, the reason why that is wanting to go up to 35 was, we're wanting to give Brooke a raise, a little bit of a raise to cover his work.
Well, they do have top every year to review it. So 60 hours a month, that's 15 hours a week. That's previous level.
But it's pretty tough to find anybody,
Yeah.
especially on a part-time position such as that.
That's equivalent to getting paid $8,000 a year. Okay.
We'll keep it at 35.
Well, I don't remember Tom specifically talking to me about this part of it. I didn't know that we were gonna give him a raise, I guess is what I'm doing. Well, I mean, what he's told me. I don't specifically remember him talking about that. And he could have, I'm not saying he didn't have. My mind is 100 places all the time, is this dude. One of the things that Bruce's going to have to do, today, and I told some other people this, is that two of the main tools that we've used in redevelopment, trying to get companies, local companies, stuff to expand, is tax abatements and TIF districts. Going forward, neither one of those are going to be very big deals. They've eliminated taxes on personal property, business, property tax. So you can't abate something you don't get. TIF districts that we have currently are grandfathered in, so they're going to be okay to be able to get, they're going to be okay, but the only way you can do a TIF district in the future is the companies come in there have to willingly pay you a fee to be able to get, in lieu of taxes, to be able to pay for bonding of an infrastructure facility, for example. And so that whole toolbox is going to have to be redone. And the last 20 years, that's the two primary tools that Cottonberry used, and now, they're basically absolutely, yeah, they're obsolete. And so he's going to have to expand his opportunities to be able to get some of those incentives for companies to do something. Now, they should have incentive enough, the fact Clay County's got extremely low taxes in the first place. Because the actual property itself is not personal property, that's property. The improvements on it. So, again, they don't get the big abatements as we got by the $2 million laser or something. You know, and those are no longer going to be taxed. You can't abate something that isn't.
Yeah, that's gonna be changing.
Yeah, so the tools that you use to be able to try to attract people to the area have to be beyond that. And we have a big tool, in fact, our taxes are so low, but our tax structure is changing in Indiana, who knows what the end result of that's all going to be. So, I don't really see it. Don't see a big deal. I really think I would love to see us be able to get more money into our redevelopment. In our development, and quite honestly, this was not a, we were there, we're someplace now, we're discussing this. Clay County really does not have any marketing organization in Marlboro County. And that is true. And so we used to have, but they weren't doing anything. At the time the budget was tight, we cut it. There was literally people on board who didn't ever have meetings. And it's like we're funding nothing, so we cut it. But with some of the way that these things are changing, those are the things that we address. So the scope of the redevelopment may need to change. May need to broaden its horizon a little bit to be able to. You know, we've done, one of the things we've done a really good job in this county in the past is keeping the businesses we have here and allowing them, you know, I think the PCAP, I think of course, now the short sold out, so that's all, what they can host their business. Technifab has grown tremendously, but they're also owned by, I think they sold it private equity, so it's not even locally owned anymore. You know, Great Dane, we can't afford to lose. We need to do what we can to try to make sure we make their ability to stay here easy. Biggest thing they need is employees. And so we need to expand maybe our horizons of what we're doing with all of that stuff. And I don't know what the actual charter, because this is long before my time, the redevelopment commission was, what the actual definition of what their jobs are. But I think we need to probably visit all those things to make sure that we're doing all we can to, because sometimes we get, I don't mean this in a negative way, but we can get a little lazy in the tools we use. But we've always used it and it's always worked. When the tools become obsolete, we need to find some new tools. Because now we're competing against a whole bunch of other people who have other tools. And they have full-time marketing people and have all those things. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there. These are things we probably have a discussion about. But Drive does some of that stuff for us, and that's one of the things driving the mortgage, running the housing thing and all that, so. But if we want to do local things here, we have to make sure that we're using our money wisely, and it's got tools to do what we can actually use. So, that's much more I'm saying. Anybody else have anything for Lance? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, those are things we need to redevelop
Well,
Yeah,
when I have said it for several years, I said, we have got to change our rules in that fuel box. And nobody wants to say, what's. Yes, you did.
I argued that we probably need to change personnel in there.
Right. We tried.
I argued that, and,
The one that person, the other thing, he was changed, I don't feel like they do,
I just think that's,
so are we going to Riverboat? Get on the cruise, but Scotty has one more comment that he needs to make.
Well, it was badly, we didn't wrote down on paper, so every year I forget that, I got something I want to ask you, I always forget. Next year during budget hearing, next summer, I wanted to try and get a quote to get there for rewiring for data. That wiring up there is, it's 30 years old. So, yeah.
it's
So,
slightly obsolete.
slightly obsolete. So our data speeds up there, you know, desktop, usually gigabit, I can't do that on most of the machines I'm there for. But what I was wanting to do was try to get a quote to rewire 34, see how it works as far as how it would work. And it may, if the price is right, phase it out, therefore 1 year, second for the name. So it has a sticker shock or. But I wonder what that line is before if yea or nay on that. If it's a nay, I'll waste my time getting something in here. Yeah.
Well,
If it's,
I mean, my guys, we're a data society, we don't have data for how we're effective.
so, but like I said, I bet I see you stuff in here. Made a note. Okay. So,
yeah, it's definitely quoted.
okay, so like I said, Nick, I'll bring it to you next September. Okay, appreciate it.
So there was one tip here, right in here. IPC, and its number changed.
Okay.
Say they take it off.
The legal went from $1,000 to $25,000. Payment went down.
There were certain tips that increased, so we tried to move the money for the professional services, make it more even. And then there were some tips that didn't have the funds to make the budget, so we lowered those down.
Well, what's the professional services tool?
They could tell me when they do the tip
$25,000
reports.
for one tip district.
They do the tip graduation, and then the other tip report they just do the April and the summer report. There was one report that they did that increased a lot.
So it looks like to me that they obviously have a bond that got paid off, which this TIF IBC 2 meter, that is, would that been that water power district? Did we get paid off one of the bonds?
There was one bond that was paid off.
But then the legal went up,
We've
which
got-
maybe they paid it off early, they had to pay a bunch of, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out why, the most they never spent on professional services, $9,000 in 2023, and it went from $1,000 last year to $25,000 this year. That's a big difference. Banner, IBC 2, TIF IBC.
Yeah.
$42,000. No, the budget actually went down.
They was doing a little bit more activity than that. of the tip area. They relocated some of the tip. We got rid of the, redistricting the tip. And in that area, so, we got rid of places that wasn't giving us the tip money and adding the ones that was.
So that was just to pay them to redistrict it, basically.
And did all the data work in there. And so we, like I said.
I guess it was a year to do it because they had to be.
Because they just taking it more out of money together, such a way, so we would have been more over that way.
So what
It's then,
How much are we paying them altogether for?
Baker Tilly,
Yeah.
couple of grand. The big utility is, we're following out with their biggest customer, like,
yeah,
you got them, you got what, who's the other one? One or two of them in the whole state of Indiana, it's sort of like in all the states. So they kind of have a market that is captured, and they are the best of the two, I won't say that. Can't think the other one, in Green County, whoever,
yeah.
if we would want to trade. Okay,
Some of them very over there.
that is money that we don't, we can change that all we want, but it's not going to affect us.
So we're looking at increase it by 5,000, not knowing what it's going to be, but we can lower it down to 95,000 and see what happens. Since we got to cut it a little bit.
Which one? At
The
10th
river
District?
road, yeah, river
Oh,
road,
River Road. Well, I gotta get there first.
1191.
I gotta get the road.
It's 13,000 in the, but it's still got its good balance. So, kind
What
of
time is
17
it supposed to be?
at 2:30.
Okay. That's all, you know.
You don't want to send this.
What is it? Oh, that's.
Since last year was no.
Yeah, we take a little bit out and we don't want to get it down to nothing. I've been told eventually this is gonna go away. I don't know how that's done. This was done, it's been on here as long as I can remember being on the council. River Road, it's never really changed.
So you want to leave it the same?
I mean, $100,000, I mean, if you look across the board on our report,
23, we didn't use that much out of it. 24, we was using more out of it.
we're gonna get $86,000 and we've got starting with $130,000. We haven't spent it down that far, we have $117,000 left. Take that workers' comp out of there. You come down, start the line on, not the county general, but
We can take it out.
No,
we want to leave it in.
you wanna leave it in there, yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna leave the 100,000, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
We don't wanna take it down to 95.
No.
No, we'll leave it where it's at. Okay.
Probably should have put it at 101.
I'll turn it in special purpose. What's our balance in the bond payment account?
The river road?
With special purpose auditor. The next one. We paid the bond for the jail.
366, 4 remains. Getting that.
I think going back to when we get to the end of the process and see where we're at, we don't want to put it in here, but we do need to put money in rainy day to offset potential shortcomings in this account here in a couple of years. I would really like to have 2 payments in that back. In case we'd have a disruption, like 2 years worth of payments. Set aside as a bond fund just in case we have money in there. But I do believe if we go back, which is going to be when I'm gone, but you guys go back and put that tax, that special purpose tax back on, and just have to have back on, then over time, inflation will build that number way more than that law payment. So we'll be okay, but I'm just saying for the short term, we might want to put a little extra in rainy day the next couple of years, just to make sure that's the way it can be done. I don't like this. Thank you. Put that on December list. All right. Commissioners, motor vehicle highway. Yeah. So who wants to talk, Paul?
Okay, before we start,
This fund's got a problem.
pardon?
This fund has a problem.
In case you do not know these gentlemen, the person in the blue shirt is Brad Stoltz, our Fayette County Highway Supervisor.
Yeah.
And the person next to him is Justin Lumiki, who is our office manager, okay?
Never seen that before.
Okay, as we said earlier, we put a 4% raise in for all of our employees. So let's go down to office supplies. We kept that the same, postage the same, mileage, we increased that by $1,000. Cellular telephone, same. Meeting, registration expenses, we increased that 500 from 4,000 to 4,500. Training and expenses the same. Repairs and building, we increased that 1,500 from 8,500 to 10. Computer maintenance, that went up $300 to 1,800. West Central Indiana Rural Transportation, the exact amount of that is $11,789. $11,789, so we cut that $711. That was the right dollar yesterday. Cut that $711. Next, West Central Transportation, $16,000. Cut that $16,000. That is not needed. That is not on this list of items he gave us. That's included in the other. So cut $16,000 out of that. Okay, then zero.
Paul, what was the other number?
11,789.
I put 11,790.
11,789. We cut that $711. $711 to be exact.
Unless you want to put exactly right. I figured there were cents on there, but you were up.
No,
No.
no.
11,789. Say you pulled out.
11,789. Yeah. Okay, next page, at the end, 4% raise. Part-time highway, we increased that from 5 to 10,000. Part-time employees for us are very beneficial. Equipment operator, 4%, hardware and tool the same. Salt, we kept that the same at 15,000. Vegetation control, we raised from 2,500 to 3,000. Brad and Justin, can we cut that or not? We've only spent $75 this year.
We already said it all.
Pardon?
We said it all, we went over.
We went over? Okay. So we need to keep that at
We
3,000.
just finally got around summertime, you know, got around with bottle chemicals.
Okay. $3,000 we need to keep. Road signs, have 10. We've kept that at 10. Uniforms, we've got that at 3,600. I really think we could probably cut that 200 or 300.
We don't hire any of those, banks are gonna be short of employees.
Let's cut that, what do you think, guys, 200, 300?
With 175 per employee.
Where,
We spent 3120 this year.
Okay.
And so why don't we cut that, to, at least 34 in case we've got new employees. Let's cut that to 3,400. Rental equipment, we increased that 1,000. We spent 2,256 so far this year. Drainage, 3,100, we have to keep that at 3,100, $3,070. Next page, insurance, we raised that 5,000, from 315 to 320. FICA, we raised that 5,000, from 75,000 to 80. PERF, we raised that 5,000 from 110 to 115. Unemployment, we cut that $5,000 from 3,000 to 2,500. We cut that, I said, I don't mean 5,000, 500. Cut that 500. Workers' comp kept the same. CDL testing, we increased that from 2,000 to 3,500. So far this year, we spent about 29, we'll spend about 2,900. So I actually think we cut that down a little bit. Projected for this year will be about 2,900. If we cut that to maybe 32, what do you think?
Like I said, it's all depends a lot, yeah, the number of employees we have, so we're not gonna increase our employees too much, that's what that's for the CDL.
Let's cut that to 3,200, that's a savings of $300.
We've got a couple of young guys looking to take CDL tests, don't we?
Mm-hmm. That won't be able.
Okay, other garage motor supplies, we have a 20. Gasoline, oil, we cut that 70,000. So we went from 320 to 250, we cut that 70,000. Tires and tubes, we have a 25. GPS tracking, we have a 7,000. Bonds, $100. Vehicle insurance, 80,000 at present time. We're projecting an increase of at least 10% to 88,000, increase of $8,000. Utilities, we increased that from 30 to 35. For this year, we're projecting, if it goes as we think, 31,102. So, you know, we could cut that a couple thousand if you wanted to. Whatever you think. 33, okay. Radio, 1,000. Vehicle repair, road equipment. These are two areas, people, that's eating us up. We have cut new road equipment the last couple of years. Now that's okay. But, you know what happens? When we cut new equipment out, it comes back to bite us on the other end. Because that means we are repairing our old equipment. We are repairing equipment today that none of you would be repairing, quite frankly. Okay? It's outdated, it's worn out, but we have no choice. We don't have money for new equipment, so we have to repair it. Guys, how many new motors have we put in this year? 2 or 3? 3? 3 new motors that normally you wouldn't do. And the repairs are eating us up. You see, we spent already $230,000.
Spent 60,000 on a truck that burned up a couple weeks later, so.
Yeah, when?
We're zero,
Of course, insurance repair.
now, currently.
What's that?
As of today, we're zeroed out on that account.
We are
We spent all that money.
zeroed out.
Yeah, so we have that's not saying any of the bills ever still out, and it's not invoiced us, yeah. We put that whole fund already.
Okay. So, you know, what we do there, I don't know. I'm going to ask you, we are going to ask you to help us out. Is there any way that you can give us any ice money to help us out on this? What we are presenting here is very realistic. on new equipment and repairs. If we have to cut, we will. But it's costing all of us. It's costing in the long run the taxpayers and citizens of this county, okay?
What else is involved in the road equipment? You've got trucks, you've got some,
Excavators,
Tractors,
mowers.
mowers.
Anything you see sitting down there, got bucket trucks, needs to be replaced.
Sure, blades on them for snow and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that's.
So, yeah, currently our bucket truck, we can't even find anybody to certify it, so that it is deemed safe. I mean, if something were to, I mean, we're raising people 60 feet in the air, and we can't even get a safety inspection done on it because it's so old.
Good combination.
We're needing, $70,000 to $80,000 for I mean, this is another used bucket truck, but at least it won't be from back in the 80s. Another thing I talked to Brad about was our grinder that we use to grind roads. It's not something you use every day like a truck, but it is very high maintenance. The same way with our dirt loader. I mean, we've rebuilt that thing time and time again. And there again, you gotta have dry weather to be able to use it, but it's made driving around our roads in the county, people, when we have folks coming, I was riding around with Brad one day, a guy that does, the coatings on the road, the fogging and that sort of thing, he sells those chemicals. And he was amazed at our drainage on our roads in the county. And that I've heard many times about, compliments about, our drainage and our side ditches. That's what gives us good roads, keeping the water off the roads. And that piece of equipment is very important. There again, it's high dollar, it's high maintenance. You only use it, it's kind of like the combine. You use it a month or 6 weeks out of the year and then you park it, But it's very necessary.
Is it possible that we can use equipment that we don't use a lot?
You could, but you can't just lease a piece of equipment like that for a short period of time. They want you to do a yearly lease. And that's a lot of times. Problem with leases is, a lot of times on the front end, they take your stuff in on trade, and then the lease ends up, all the times we've ever looked at this. Because a lot of people come up and go, hey, I'll be leased, not be leased, not be leased. We kind of call it lease because in the end, there's so much still load on that piece of equipment, the only people that's going to give you the value of that equipment would be the same company. Let's just we can use John Deere, we can use Cat, we can use anything. If you lease from them, they're going to give you the balance, that money back on trade-in, where necessarily if you didn't like that type of equipment, you want to switch, you're hooked into that company. You'll never get ahead of what you owe, is what we have found.
The thing about leasing to an entity like the county, it's not taxable, there's no advantage. If I lease something for my business, I can write it off. Counties can't do that. That's honestly the only way it makes sense, for someone like me. So if the county can't do that, I can see what that would not give you any advantage at all.
If the county would ever get into a situation to where they could flip equipment, we have excavators that we flip quite often. Through the government programs, you can buy equipment a lot cheaper than dealerships can buy it. We can buy a new John Deere tractor cheaper than the dealership can buy it. We have to go through the municipal side of it and everything like that. And what these companies really like is when you buy a piece of equipment, you can sit there and run 4,000 hours on this piece of equipment, which is fairly broke in. If you maintain it with their warranty and everything, you flip it 3 to 5 years, you can almost get your money back out of it because they're going to make good money selling a lot higher than they sold it to you in the very beginning. If we could ever get to the point where we could flip equipment often enough, ever get our health of our budget enough to where we could afford to keep rolling new stuff up, it's under warranty,
but the warranty paid for that equipment. Moving on out with the newer model, pay the marginal difference. It's a lot smaller than trying to get this equipment. If you could ever get everything, your main stuff running in that order is what a lot of different counties in the state do.
How much would it take? I mean, my goodness, when you start naming this list, we're talking about millions of dollars.
You are, but you know, it's just like the elephant, you gotta start somewhere, you gotta take one bite at a time. And we've already been doing it with our excavators now for several years, we've had really good luck because our excavators are staying in really good shape. And we very seldom let them get out of warranties when you have a massive failure that the company owns, you know, they own the situation.
So you've got some of this already going on.
Oh, absolutely, we know that's what this for years. Oh, yeah, it works, but it's just getting that.
So what would be the next thing that you could do that with, and what would it take?
Well, we want to flip trucks. Trucks is the big thing that wears out fast, and then you can get it right back on the market. You know, we need to spec it to where they're more contractor friendly to be a marketable item when it's done. Yeah, the more we can keep under warranty, the more we can let them own the repairs on that stuff, the more we save money. Stuff like that.
So how long would you keep them if you did this?
Well, you'd want to flip it in 3 or 4 years. You know, you kind of want to do it
Like a standard?
sure. And that's not for every piece of equipment. If it's a specialty item that you're only going to put so many hours on a year, you know, you can't do the whole fleet. You can't do things like that. But something like a truck that's our backbone that's going to run every season and run continuously, or something like an excavator that runs every day, or a road grader or something, then big ticket items that cost a lot to repair that you use often is what you want to, you know, consider keeping a warranty on.
So if you, how many trucks do you need?
Well, we run about, we got about 12, and we run 6 to 7, 8 continuously.
So how much are new?
By the end of the year, we'll have 3 new ones, right?
Yes. Two of them, one of them destroyed by fire, 2 of them got damaged real bad, the insurance paid for them, but yet they're damaged enough that we still have mediocre stuff coming along and wiring and everything like that, you know, we have to address occasionally just because it wasn't caught, because there was no way to know, you know, behind fenders and stuff like that and everything. So we'll go ahead and move those through.
So if you, so I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what would be your ideal scenario of how much you would need? You said we were going to help you out. Paul said,
Yes.
how much are you saying you need help with to be able to create some of those scenarios you're talking about?
Well, you start right now with 3 trucks coming in, they're $240 a piece, roughly $240,000 a piece. Now, that same truck we were buying, you know, early in my career, we was paying $120, $130. You know, that's just what COVID and inflation has done to us. I mean, it's just insane. The parts are the same way. If you find the parts, you know, if you get the right parts, anybody that's out here that's fixed anything understands this, you know, and getting in everything. But we could start with something like getting these bought, getting these paid for, because we're considering next year having to lease, borrow money to pay for one of these trucks now. We're not positive that we're going to have enough money to pay for one of these trucks because it's in need, and it takes a year to get them built right now. So we're already in the phase of getting them. We got a new mower tractor that we've been waiting on for months. It'll be coming in, and we've got the money sent back for it. We've got the money sent back for one truck. And then we've got 2 coming next year that's going to absorb practically the same amount of money we had this year for equipment if we don't come up with other options.
Well, if you look at the vehicle repair and the road equipment, those 2 things pretty much run inverted from each other. Now, you look back to last year, I know our equipment budget got cut to $270,000, and we had adopted $300,000 for repairs. Well, just to cover it at the 6-month period, you know, if you look at what we've already paid at the end of June, $500,000 is not gonna cover repairs. So, we would much rather have a little more money for new equipment and not have to be paying all the money on repairs if we can move some of this other equipment on. And granted, the beginning of this year, it has been a nightmare. I mean, we've put, like I say, the 3 motors in, we put a new motor in the truck that burned up. Our bucket truck, the motor went out, the sign truck, the motor went out. But I mean, all those things, like I say, the bucket truck's from in the 80s, and the sign truck had 230,000 miles or something like that on it. So I mean, it's not like we're abusing the stuff, but it's.
So what's the
just-
most important thing you need to replace right now?
Trucks. We're working on trucks.
Your machine and lifting people up in the air.
Oh, absolutely, that is. But yeah, but I was going back to what he's talking about, the leases on and stuff. Yeah, absolutely, the bucket truck is very, very, very important. It is very important.
And the loader is very important. One of the things we take great pride in is cleaning ditches. Now, I don't know if we know how many miles of ditches we have in Wayne County. 1,300 miles, okay? That's a lot of ditches, and that takes a lot of work. And the old dirt loader is about shot. And we need a replacement, whether a used one or new one or something, right?
Yeah, me and Brian went to North Carolina and bought this one years ago. And, we've had good service out of it, I can't say that, we keep it built.
How much would it cost to replace it, I guess?
It's probably about $350,000 for the dirt.
And then what's the second most important thing?
Well, the trucks,
Go ahead, Brian. Okay, we got 2 trucks sitting at max right now. Well, we've got 3 trucks, but we're buying one. We looked into doing a 4-year lease. Well, the 4-year lease for 2 trucks is gonna cost us $96,000. Well, that's no brainer. You're throwing that lease money away. You're still gonna get a 7-year, I think it was 7-year warranty on the truck, or was it 6-year? That they cover. That they would cover the exhaust and all that. Exhaust is your big expense on trucks. That's why I run old trucks, so I don't mess. If we could just get the 2 trucks at Mac paid for to get a couple more order on tandem trucks, so we have snow removal, would be our best bet. And then plus get the boom truck, tree truck.
So your maintenance is 500,000. You said you can get 2 trucks, truck, 240,000.
Jeez.
So this 500,000 in maintenance, I know there's equipment you're working on. That's 2 trucks right there.
Exactly.
For me, it's a no-brainer. My only question is, do you have the facilities today to keep those trucks inside, or you keep trucks inside? And do we have the facility now to do this if we have a fire down?
They're working on that now.
Okay, well, that's what I was curious, because I know some equipment's got holes and stuff, the sun's gonna drive those holes out.
That's that 70 by 120 building, we're getting ready to build down there.
That's, I knew there's something about it, I know I've seen.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
And then they're getting ready to start.
Every engineer's got that right now.
Yeah, I think that's very important as well. I would agree with that.
On the other hand, I can't say what you can do about it. Right now.
The sad part about it, I had a truck that had put the injectors in, just put 6 injectors in and have Chase do it, it was $10,000 bill. I mean, I had that, I had PM go out, I mean, it's nothing to spend the $100,000 repairing a truck. But my accountant looks at me and goes, you can't spend that much on repairs in a year for your truck. I said, yeah, you can.
Okay, so let's go back. So 1176, Bishop Motor Highway. So you get in, you started off January 1st with $1,007,000. You've got $2.9 might as well say 2.8 million in receipts. And we spent 3.5 million.
Okay, now Larry, let's stop right there.
Okay,
They got us spending 3.5 million for this year.
which is what,
Where does that come from? We haven't spent that yet. We may not spend that amount.
that's what's budgeted out there.
That's what they're projecting.
Well,
what
that's
they're-
because that's what was budgeted last year, correct?
Okay, but
They take that off your last year's budget projection. Which your budget wouldn't have been that.
I see the.
See, they're adding into ARPA money there. We throw it in for the stone.
Yeah, I'm looking at 25.
It's 2 million.
Yeah.
See, that's what happened there. But there's, see,
And that goes to 1173 though?
Yeah, but they're still adding it all together, I think, is what they picked up on.
So what they're saying is for 1173, the total budgeted disbursements for this year will be 1.6 million, but that's not what your budget was last year.
yeah, that's 1.6 is county public thing.
That's the disturbance, so.
I may be wrong, but that seems to be elevated to me. How it's look,
Well, all you have to do is go back and look at last year's budget. What was budgeted last year?
It's right here. These three numbers.
1173 or 1.625.
Yeah, I mean, I'm showing here budgeted 2025. Let's just go back to the right one.
2.9 million.
So if we add those two together, that's a lot.
He's on 73.
You're on 70.
Yeah, 73.
Restricted fund,
We haven't finished 76.
70. I understand that, but I'm just doing what I was listed in order here, not those. Okay, let's look at 76, if that's where you're at. So they're showing 76. This shows here. Total budget for 25 is 1.6, they're showing that the disbursements were 3.5, how could that be?
Because we had $2 million for ARPA money we threw in there.
Yeah, but they're projecting that, see, they're showing a negative cash flow, but $2 million, that's not right. So this isn't right, because they didn't count that $2 million for the ARPA money.
But that should have been a receipt and a disbursement, not just a receipt.
That should have offset each other, so. This $746,000 net cash flow, they're saying this account has not accurate.
Can't be, they don't show it as a receipt. Should have in and out.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at that disbursements, I'm looking at the budget going, there's no way. Because you guys had to cut this massively last year, you recall. It did in cash flow.
We did, plus we had all those salaries in there last year.
That's not $2 million.
Yeah. What they did was, there were some things that they paid for out of ARPA.
What happened is you took ARPA money for repair. That's what happened, they said, remember all that money was repaired, that's where this ARPA is, all that's getting mixed in. Because we did a lot of repair with the ARPA money.
See, what they're doing is they're assuming you're gonna spend another $2 million this year. That you're not, because that was a one-time deal that you can't get. So that makes this budget screwed up.
So she needs to fix
So
Makes the beginning balance.
needs to fix that.
It shows the 3.248 in your disbursements.
Well,
Yeah,
I know that,
but it doesn't show income.
It doesn't show it coming in.
The beginning balance should have been,
When you add 2 million forward to it, it's just 1.9.
It's the funds.
Yeah.
the beginning balance is wrong.
Right, it should have been a wash.
Well, it might have been right at the beginning, but at some point in the year, we put $2 more million in there for ARPA money. January first, it might have been in, but.
Our money was in another fund.
But then the disbursement should have been in another.
Yeah, the disbursement shows up here.
Well, the 3.2 is what is budgeted.
Right. I'm just saying the beginning balance is wrong. Where you show
Well,
all
it's,
this.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong, but they don't have an offset for that ARPA money.
If the ARPA money would came in at 25 in here, it could be.
Well, that's taking dollars on your 25.
25, the curriculum receipt, should.
That's your ending balance.
The ending balance would have been $2 million higher.
But that makes this cash flow feasible. This.
There's no.
There's no way they can.
Well, you know that, okay, what we're
That's
asking,
an ARPA money.
what he's asking is no ARPA money went in, correct?
Right.
But they spent $2 million out of their,
Like in out of the ARPA trust.
but it's not
But
in.
it shows it coming out of here.
No, it's in a separate fund.
Patty, I understand that, but it shows that it came out of this fund, and that's why it shows the negative cash flow.
Okay, so your ending balance on 25 is the same as what your 26 preliminary budget is. They're estimating your income, and then that's the expenses is from your budget that's listed there.
What they requested.
Yes. What they requested. Yeah. Start right there.
So it shows up in their receipts. So if that's true, then they only got $797,000 additional income, so
She says it never came in there. It's never been entered in.
No, it's
it never shows up on the receipt side.
Or the disbursement.
correct.
Well, how come the disbursements are so much higher than what they budgeted?
Because they budget more than what they,
For 26.
for 26.
This is 26 on that, or 20, no, this is 25.
This is 25. January 1st, 25, receipts dispersed, and then ending cash balance at the end of this year is supposed to be $261,000. And they, when they add that number with what they budgeted this year, they're showing have a negative cash flow of 746. That's all.
And she's looking at, 25 and got it.
What is it? You got 261 for balance 6, coming in 2.4, dispersing out 3.2, with a negative balance of 487.
We're looking at 76.
1176.
On 26,
No, 25 and got it.
25,
So, because they're using that 25 number to start off 26, it's, what I'm saying is, you got 25 wrong, so that makes the starting number for 26
Even worse.
even a lot worse.
well, the 3.5 was what you even got advertised.
Say that again.
The 3.5 and the 25 was what was advertised. That says it's up. So it's more than 2.8.
So they're asking for 1.944. Last year, they asked for 1.65. But it says they spent 3.5, but he said, well, that ARPA money was in a different account, so it should have shown up in there. And the disbursement said it showed up in the ARPA side. And even if it did show up, because they showed the receipts as being 2.7. Problem is, that means that their total receipts were way lower than what, if you added $2 million plus what their actual requested receipt was, it'd have been a whole lot more than 2.7 million.
So it's our money in both.
No.
It looks like to me the expenses are in one, in both, and the income is or something, I don't know, something's not right. We need a forensic CPA in here to figure this out. There is such thing.
We can't afford it.
They say it as they did, you can't figure out what happened.
So if you take on our budget sheets, and you take the 2025 adopted budget, which is what we should have done last year, and add 3 columns, add the 3 pages together, you're at 2.871 million. which we've been very close to the 25 adopted was 2.7, received for 2.7 million. So we would have been very close to balance, which we did. We painfully balanced it. Remember, we had to move people out of there to county general to make that balance. Okay? So there's no way our disbursements on the 25 budget for our adopted 25 is going to be $3.5 million.
And that we would be short 746,000.
Again, now we just fixed out last year.
If we moved Austin to just county general.
We had 100,000 put in for, one of the buildings, I think, that I'm in for. That was back in here, that show up in there?
No.
That was a part of our original budget. So they would count that as gonna be in the first now too, right, since they put that 111,000 in?
That would just be a trade-off.
Yeah, that goes back in and you guys requested it.
Yeah, but now.
Yeah, if it goes, if we get insurance money typically back into county general, then you have to request it. in your budget.
Well, this is probably what he's talking about, is where that building deal fell through, then we, it went back in, but that would have been in the highway department. But did
That
that,
was not in county general
no, that's capital. Capital.
Capital.
That's when Richard started to hang on city. We had all the adjustments, yeah. $693,000. That's refund, that's one of the adjustments.
That's basically your tax.
62,000, yeah. That's why they carry over from 24.
So,
Then,
so this isn't correct, I guess.
Okay, explain it, and, that kind of makes sense what you're saying, the plan.
I see our total, like for 2025, our budget was originally 2.8 million. But then if I go over to the next column, it says adjustments, so that'd probably be like, we had, I guess, the encumbrances, right, like, where that, like I said, we got the 111,000 for the insurance. That comes up to 693,000, that was at 3.5 million. As far as our total appropriations, which they will count that as expenses too.
The encumbrances come from the previous year.
Yeah, but that's what shows up there. That's why,
So what you're saying is they're counting the encumbrance.
that's
And the expense for 2025 relative to 24 expense.
Well, that's plus also the insurance go back for repairs on the building, which that's nothing to do with us, it's repaired when that burned. You're showing that it's our, you don't want that.
Yeah, I got 62,000, got that check for vehicle repairs, kids income adjustment to get up to that $693,000 difference.
Why don't you show Jason right here? Yeah.
Yeah. You got a better sheet than me.
Yeah.
One of our, I think it's just the location, but yeah, this is our. So any adjustments that was originally in the budget, it's not all. So it's the insurance check we got, it's not an insurance check, it's like small ones. $200 that probably covered from 2024. Money up front from 2024.
So the 25 adopted is anticipating if they spend everything.
Yeah, right, so, yeah, that's
So here's 3.5.
So if they don't spend all this, then that's gonna be. See, that's the starting ground.
But then insurance money that we never expect.
Yeah. I don't know how they get a report, but I see it somehow, the number kind of. Don't do the everything.
Typically, we get,
Yeah.
we get insurance check, it comes.
Right, this
Then we got the sheet
is showing. Fine.
Insurance insurance check comes to the general fund.
Right.
And then if we have to, we even ask for extra appropriation to spend that money, it's not part of the budget.
This is as $3.5 million.
Well, they say we're gonna spend, it's on the budget, our budget.
Yeah.
So there's more to know about background, a lot of the stuff that don't know what's going on, so little about insurance. That 111 for the truck machines, so we're gonna replace those.
That's still a lot different.
Well, even now, we did all our numbers too.
Yeah.
So,
See, now we're still out of the 20. They take the cash balance and you get all the encumbrance, that's carrying that next year, next,
Yeah.
you can't. That money's already been budgeted, so they cover it, so when they add that into 25, count it as 45 expense. That's not gonna mess with the dollars, but it's not more expensive. Plus, the insurance money has through another one.
Yeah, I think.
That's all I'm looking at, I think that's what we're getting with that from.
Yeah, well, you've got 25 and 20. The one we're arguing about right now is 11.6. Which you're only starting off you're gonna get almost 2.5 million in, and right now you're budgeting 3.2 million. And we're going to negative cash balance in the fund, $750,000, which is what we got to take a comment on. Because you can't have a negative cash balance in.
But there's no way that can be right.
Right. We're debating that this 261 number is starting balance.
Well, this year, that's what we left that from.
That's if they spend everything in their
Everything over,
budget
yeah.
this year.
Yeah, but it can't, that number, this can't be far bigger than what we budgeted. When you add all that stuff together, it's a bigger number than what they actually budgeted.
Yeah.
We'd like to buy a lot, $707,000.
Yeah. All the adjustments are this sheet.
So part of it, that he didn't really have that. You get the insurance money.
Well, no, we took these total adjustments to,
That's also including all the additionals that they've asked this year.
$790,000.
We haven't done additional for that much. Not out of motor vehicle, because we didn't have it. That fund was, we had to take raw Peter to pay Paul to make a balance in the first place.
Did they come
We haven't had
back?
any additionals out of 11.7.
We never did any additional, but we knew there wasn't any money in there.
Somebody did.
And something's not right.
You have Laura make a copy of that page.
Yeah.
Please. Or make a whole copy of that page.
Which page? You want to make it right from front office? I mean, that's comfortable, like, yeah, it's front of page, but. Yes. Just created for the impression. Yeah. So, things copy paste, okay. Yeah, email or just do printouts.
So can I move things from? Sure.
You get that also rest of the yeah, once you done it, that's the location. Yeah, it's a, yeah. Get a station, it's this last one, get it on this.
I don't think so. We have one, pretty much, I did it last Thursday, it says the ice arms, and I show up, ask the lines, and be like, when the rock tickets in, you know, for this, I never know, I call you, you tell me, you know, you know, that, it's back to the one day, now it's one day.
What's this, right?
And then it must have been, I don't remember.
See, because this year, yeah, you were.
They were here, interesting.
I had like this year, we had the test all there, and then through the meeting, because I
That would give you a full 500. The problem is we got that negative number there, that can't be made. So if this beginning balance number is way off, okay, that's off by $700,000.
And we balanced it last year.
So then all of a sudden, all the numbers start to look up.
Oh, no, it's, and, you know, I take it that
Beginning balance, that is way weird.
Let me know that else.
yeah.
The only way that could be off is if for some odd reason you guys did transfers that we didn't aware of. But you can't really transfer that to other accounts because they're totally separate.
You know, we had our transfer money in there and it went to the adjustment.
But those things are all a part of their encumbrances and stuff. There's no way that they could have done that.
What was really encumbered, then you should have rolled over.
So that would go into your beginning balance, it's not your encumbered balance.
It is not encumbered.
Well, that is a
That's
possibility.
the possibility that has a couple other things.
But that's a big one, it's $700,000. Because that budget last year was balanced, that's why we did all that we had to do. It had to be. because-
We went around and around, but we got that right.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, for the new folks on here, so like county general, and some of the funds like that, we have a barrier where we got some play where we can make budgets balanced. But motor vehicle highway, all your county highway and stuff, that is defined every year. There's no big slush fund anywhere where you got money, you know, you might come for something to be able to
You
buy
want to learn about
bigger
highway.
equipment, you can tie it all.
Learned a lot last year too. I'm always behind my way.
As far as having cash balance.
That's not what very well liked at the moment.
Right.
You gotta
There's
move
no
up.
Right.
This could have been all
Go where the
that.
corner is, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Without us feeling it somewhere along the line. Paul would be going, hey, we don't have any money in that account. Right, but Justin for, hey, we don't have any money in that account. Patty says we don't have any money in that account. Oh, yeah.
He's gotta move up.
Yeah, do you need to go?
In like 15 minutes, so I don't know how long.
He's good, he's talking about.
Yeah. I'm at 3:15. I was at 3:15.
Okay, well, why don't we go ahead while we're waiting and look at that other.
Look at Justin.
It is, because his is a grant. It is pretty much what it is, we just have to approve it, we don't actually have direct hand on hand daily meetings of this account. So, Community Corrections gets a grant and then they collect fees. So all this money coming from either the state or the local people who pay fees into this, so we don't invest with this, he does this, he just have to review it. And like, they don't like give themselves big ranges unless we kind of aware, so we want to make sure that we're in line. Other than that, we don't really have anything to do with this one.
Spends what he gets.
He spends what he gets, and that's, he doesn't,
It's been a lot less.
he accumulates money, and they don't. Because you never know what's up with that money. And we determine what our raises are at the end of the year, so we don't take the day for our raises.
I guess budgeted an extra, 50 cent raise for each.
We typically, keeps the spirit. You put it on what you get out there, expect a little higher.
Yeah, I asked for 160, got 137. I always throws to ask for more, and I had a lot of street, and they keep telling me.
You keep asking.
Yeah, I'll keep that. I raised the insurance a little bit because their insurance went up. I actually last year had to move some money around. Insurance was higher than I anticipated, so I bumped it this year. Also bumped, the pay raises are included in that. And then,
Down on your drug testing, not doing.
so when they admit, we don't have to send it off. So we never spend as much of the budget, so I just took it down a little bit this year. I took our supplies down this year just because one supplies orders for staff, equipment, and we have basically everything we need, so that's just backup money just in case we need it. I increased our vehicle supplies because gas is always high.
That's going to go down this year.
Kept cleaning supplies the same, we never really, we get close, but we don't really spend everything out of it. Lease doesn't change because we pay $375 to the county every month for using the building. Insurance is the same, cell phone is the same, utilities never changes. Repairs the same this year. I decreased the equipment lease by $5,000 because I remember the last 2 years haven't been what they were my first year. Haven't really gotten back up to where we'd like them since the Ford Act being pretty high. And then the court system was trying to hurry to flush things out, speeding probation. So our numbers, we usually like to be around 65 to 75. We're at 60 right now, but we never ever spend anywhere close to the 110. Even when we were high. Contract release didn't change, postage didn't change. I did increase our travel and training $200. That includes like all of our training that we have to do, but I just increased it this year because the board approved us to do some evidence-based practices online, which is $1,000 every year, and that covers basically almost all of our training, and that 2 conferences, so that covers all that. And then our estimated budget just went up just a tad.
So this kind of FYI, so I'm on the board here, I'm the county council. And like I think Paul, our commissioners, the judge appoints some people. Jordan is very good at managing his budget. He's excellent. Yeah. Couldn't give him a higher recommendation as far as how many job he does. So I'm not worried about this budget. We can't change it really anyway. Just have to review it.
Yeah, I think last year we, I want to say we were at 58 grand that we had spent, so that just went right back.
And you don't know this, when they build the building, so they accumulate money. When they build the building, they pay, I don't know, it's like, was it the third cost of the building, that's only we they've been here, Paul?
Oh,
According to the paperwork, the county paid a little over half, and then we personally paid the rest.
So, like, so even though the county would go into the building, they helped fund it quite a bit, and quite honestly, we built that building on a good deal because our friends down in the other end of National Avenue just made us a real good deal. Very good. On that building, so Brad have a healthy building for us. Anyway, and then the next page, the next category is grant. It's not filled out because your fiscal year.
Yeah, I have my copy. You can see it right now. Basically, I just split the salary in 5, but I keep $2,000 separated. That's Mr. Moss' idea. I won't take credit for that. Just in case we have a shortage of staff, we can dump money into it. Since we know insurance, personnel, that is always going to come out. So if we're down an employee, I can dump an employee's salary into that funding without missing a beat.
So, I don't know why it's not filled out here, but you do get your grant in the middle of the year.
Yeah, well, we just got approved at the end of July.
So that, I assume that was why, I wasn't sure. But, anyway, what he does though is he maximizes the use of this grant money. Then, so he makes sure that we use the grant money. We don't really want to send the money back, and then the rest of it comes out of fees. And then, like, so if you have someone in a community corrections program, they pay certain fees, drug deaths, all these different things, they pay a fee. Sometimes they're pretty good about collecting it because they kind of have the ability to encourage people that if they want to go back to jail, they might want to pay their fees. Motivated to pay their fees. So anyway, it's not like some of the juvenile things stuff we're talking about. So anyway, he does a great job. Appreciate what the group does. He doesn't go out here and wave his own flag very often. So anyway, wants to see what the actual budget here is. $137.25 is what you.
Yep, that's been our grant class. This be year 4.
So you can, honestly, there you could take the adopted 25, but just copy and paste it over to this.
Pretty much. The only changes is this year I evened it out.
That's correct, correct,
Yeah, it's even across the board. Last year, there was an extra 2,000 in the executive director, or 10,000 actually. But I evened that all across the board to make it cleaner. So basically for myself and the 4 other employees, it's $27,005. And then overtime was $500, health insurance $500, FICA $500, PERF $500. The other thing I have to present is the opioid crisis money, which was approved by the commissioners. This will be going on year 3 now that we've done this, coming up on year 3. Basically, instead of our clients paying for their services, whether that's substance abuse, intermittent, cognitive behavior, stuff, MRT, things like that, we use the opioid crisis money, which every county got a settlement from that. So we have a contract with Broken Chains Consulting, who did our classes before, and we pay him a flat rate for salary. And he does all of it. He actually pays rent also to use the building. And then he does his 1099, whatever that is. And the other part of that is
excellent job.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah. And then the other portion of that is the 5,200 for supplies. So that covers basically all the books, that material we need for the clients. So it doesn't cost the clients anything. And basically, they can't say that I can't afford classes, I can't do this, I can't do that. So they have no excuse but to be successful. So we provide all that in-house. And then we also use the Hampton Center, even though it's a freaking nightmare. But yeah, so never heard of that. Right. Yeah. So, but Zach does everything in-house, and if he can't treat them, he sends an outside referral. But he does all of our classes through the week. He's with us at least 3 to 4 days a week. He works every Saturday and Sunday in the building. He does a great job. And support this contract, if anybody ever wants to come sit in the class, you can, but he is great. He's a motivational person.
I'll just say that.
He's a recovered addict.
Thank you very much for being patient.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a good rest of your day. Anything else, sir?
Good luck with the book.
Thanks. Thanks. Good nights.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Everybody across the board. So. So myself was Stephenson's. Yes, here. Right, last year, we were at 16 first. Right. Yes, so mine's. Anybody out there? Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. In our board meeting next week, I had to. That works. Yeah. Thanks.
It's all my kids, very
So, Brownsburg Community, who is it? Can't remember.
That is Debbie Allen, and
That's right.
she is, can't be here. So,
But that's a grant.
that's a
It
grant,
is what
and
it
that's
is.
the figures that, came up with, so that's what we put in.
And it's always utilized by trying to think, well, you know, I think you hired him, the guy that's, I mean, shots,
I know it's-
but not, think my kids would kill me while they're paper all night.
So this grant writes approval stuff that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, another day, or
Yeah.
regular day.
March support action.
All right, so back to.
Okay, so back to the highway, and you got the highway encumbered 213,000 plus the additional 458,000 comes up 671. That's why that is 3.5, which is
Okay,
those
so,
two added figures.
so where's the additional come from? You said additional.
They asked for sometime this year.
I don't,
I would have to look.
I mean, I don't remember.
That
There
was
was
like
no-
the 111,000 like that from the building to get it back. That'd be an additional, right?
I think so,
And then like
because,
16,000 out the insurance check,
Mhm.
trying to go back in, I think it's an additional.
yeah.
Yeah, but, so that was a rare, because that was insurance, part of that was insurance money. That's
That's
still
on
not,
top of the insurance.
That's like part, yeah, that's like
That's on
100,
top
so,
of the insurance.
well, how much was the insurance money then?
well, those should be 170, right?
I mean, that's, we're still way off.
Yeah, so,
Well,
No,
I-
that was 671, that's the year before.
She said we did addition.
Well, the additional would have
The
been,
encumbrance,
the only additional we would have done was that insurance money, taking it back and putting it.
No, we did for the building expansion, that I do lean to, because that money went back, so we had to come in and ask for 149,000 on top
Oh,
of that.
that's right. Okay, but, so,
they encumbered 213 from 24,
right,
cover in 25. So they split it in 25.
so, but what it's showing, but that's showing, okay,
So if you add the 2.8, you get a 671, you get 3.5.
right.
Okay.
So that was for all stuff that was done for 25 and before. And they're showing, they didn't add any income in from receiving those funds in there. Because we would receive that encumbrance back in there.
That's not income.
Well, but it shows as an expense for that year. So
Yes.
it needs to show expense for the previous year.
Well, your ending balance is what the ending balance is for the starting balance of 25.
$1 billion.
The 1 billion, that's your starting balance.
And they take the encumbrance down of that, right? So, we haven't taken them out yet, right?
Right,
Those 200,000 out of that.
yeah.
Encumbrances.
But I don't
So it
understand
should be taken
now,
out, it wouldn't be taken out of it on any additional stuff.
if we encumbered the money and we got insurance money, how would we have a negative cash flow of $746,000? That's not the point. it could have been a negative cash flow because it was covered by those encumbrances and insurance money.
The insurance money goes right back in and pay, that has nothing to do with it, the additionals on top of it.
If it was encumbered, that was encumbered from the year before,
Right.
so why would that be expense in this year?
It should have been, that's all it is.
Because we didn't spend it in 24, so its balance is a million instead of
We're not talking about 2024.
the 213 is the encumbrance from 24 to pay in 25.
Doesn't go in there.
Yeah. Larry, now on the next page, on the 2026 one, I don't know, what's our requested budget? I can see someone wrote down here on this page for 2.8 million. So why they show our disbursement's already gonna be 3.2 million for 2026, I didn't know we were gonna get the extra. We're already first quarter we're out of ask for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see something on 25, but I already got the.
These numbers don't make sense.
Well, the 3.248 is what you've got budgeted right now.
Oh, it is, it is, 3.2 already?
Let's see.
Okay. I see. Alright, so I wrote on there, I didn't know what that was. That's 1.5.
Yeah, if you leave it the same,
Yeah, so
Okay,
let's
it's
see.
all the number.
Yeah, 3.248. 103. That's what you've got budgeted. Yeah.
Then receipts just what they project our income will be,
Yeah.
$2.5 million. As far as.
But there's a change of
NVH.
sign in that, yeah.
Still don't get it. What this says is that you're asking for 1.9 million budget this year. We had 1.6 million last year. Even if you add all those other numbers in it, are you adding 1176 on 1173 together?
Yeah.
So so if we did expenditures in 2025 up to June, it's 825. So if we said that's halfway through the government, that's 1.65, right? But yet it shows our disbursements for 2025 are going to be 3 point whatever million. That's double.
So on this sheet, the 31176 is total 3.248. There's 31176.
Right up there. I'm going, the last page should have it all added together.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it's not carrying all the way?
No, you gotta add 3 pages together. So if you add 3 pages together, you get 3.2 million.
Yeah, 3.248. And then, which is, that correlates to the disbursements on the 26th preliminary budget.
Yeah.
So, I still think going back to the estimated beginning cash balance in 22 versus 2026, if that is, too low.
Yeah, so they add, do that, those insurance things get added into our cash balance and their figures. I wonder if that happens.
But they're also dispersed out.
It's like your beginning cash balance.
And it's operates.
Isn't your beginning cash balance though, don't they take the encumbrances out of that?
No,
They would, so they're considering encumbrance balances in your cash balance here.
starting cash down here.
Wouldn't
But
be
you gotta-
encumbered. But what would it be to encumber it?
Just spend it for next year.
Yeah, but it should, if you.
It should be in your cash balance if it's been spared.
Well, we can't take it out until it's actually spent.
No, but it stays in its line item as an encumbered balance.
How much do we think it was, should have been income?
It was like 213,000.
Still, that's not enough.
You have,
If you had to do
And
it.
my whole point is, we had this balance last year. And this is showing that if we, based upon the receipts we're getting, expect for 26, and what we And subtracting what we dispersed last year, we went $746,000 in the hole.
So you said they did additional, right, this year? Out of 1176. They're saying just for insurance stuff. Was there additional that wasn't just insurance stuff? Correct. There you go.
Where are they?
What are they?
I mean, let's see what they are. Because I don't recall doing it. We didn't have any money in that account to do
But
this.
let's just see what they are. Because I know they're pushing ahead. So did you guys ask for anything and we just said, okay,
Where did that 149 come from?
that's insurance?
No,
That was a building.
That's the building.
That was income money.
No, we didn't cover it because we didn't have a contract. That money went back to the county general, then we come and ask for you.
But it went back into county general.
And it should have came out of county general.
Right,
That's what I'm saying.
It's
We're,
5,000.
that's what I,
yeah, 105 should have went back to county general.
we should have got it out of county general.
Which I thought we did.
But let's see what she's done. Because that's what I wondered. Did she take things out of the
Because finally,
line?
they can't get a building on Motor. Probably can't get buildings out of
Oh,
Motor.
hey. We bought a new tractor, we encumbered 274,000. For that truck. For the truck for the beginning of the year, so was that had been carried over, so that's showing that we encumbered that money because we had, on order.
So is that showing as income then?
Yeah, it shows, it shows as new money for this year, but they didn't show it last year.
But I just think,
We didn't spend it yet.
where did she code things?
We didn't spend it yet. It should still be in there.
I'm confused.
Uh, I'm confused too, somewhere.
I just know these numbers can't possibly be right, because we've been over backwards to balance that account. You guys, remember, you guys
Well,
were not trying to
it
figure out
was
how
about,
to do that.
since we took the mechanic out of
Yes,
highway and put it in general.
we've never done that before, I can remember things like that.
We had to, because we couldn't get down below the number.
No,
Exactly.
But if you're coming, I'm not saying you did, but if she's done additionals and taken out 1176 and shouldn't have.
See, and then this tractor, it's been sitting at John Deere. It's been sitting there for 4 months. We've not even got it yet.
We're not paying for it either, though.
Yeah, see, it's that money's sitting there.
Why don't you ain't got us?
Huh?
We'll figure it out for you, what's the deal?
It's supposed to be here next week.
Then nothing more on it, yeah.
I can just use it while you're,
Well, you get a motor on
I
it.
need to plow my garden.
These new trucks are sitting up back, been sitting there for 2 months, but we're waiting to get the beds put on.
This is industry nationwide, there's so much shortage of employees and stuff.
And this
We
was,
wait on there.
I mean, waiting on a tractor that long, I mean, that's ridiculous, I'm sorry.
It's not that been negative, it's not been spent yet.
And I guarantee the dealership won't like any more we do, because they're not getting money. Exactly, it's not in their cash flow either, so they're not very happy about it either. They're
So
waiting.
it's like waiting on a pump for the mower, and that it?
yeah, I'm sure they're wanting their money too.
Yeah.
So we got all this money, so how much should we be a negative?
See, like break down the receipts. That's the thing, 2025 receipts.
Well, in 1176,
For the new folks, I know you're probably sitting there going, what's that?
I got health insurance on the third page, $320,000. I'm just trying to get this broke down to where my income is gonna be my disbursement. I don't give a crap about the beginning balance.
Okay, now running it out.
On the third page of 1176, top line says health insurance, $320,000.
The account number say 2,000.
203, all 203. What is it? 1176, 203. Well,
It's the last 1176 page. Your top line.
Okay, I see it, yeah, what's your question?
All right, well, my question is, over in the commissioner's budget, I got health insurance in there, $700,000.
Yes.
Is this in addition to that?
Yes. This is for county highway. The other is for everybody basically in the county.
Okay.
And this is for county highway.
So highway separated out.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. 1176, that would be Clay County Highway Department.
Right. I'm tracking with you, but just like we did with the mechanic last year, can I lump their health insurance in with everybody else's and bump that over there up to $1 million and zero this one out?
There'd be no legal aspects prohibiting that.
Any insurance.
Right.
I mean, somewhere I gotta come up with $700,000,
Yeah.
1176. And I don't wanna take it out of your repairs and your equipment,
That
what we always did before, and I don't wanna do that.
So you're saying fill that in county general?
I'm saying take that 320,000 out of there and go put it back in the county general.
That would be,
Which we've already talked about doing an additional at the end of the year, $200,000 into that fund.
that would be under, the county general 1,000, and the account number is 1,000, or 17,000.
Make sure
17000.
you're taking a note of
We had
that.
we asked for 700,000 there.
So that we can tell her.
What was the numbers again, Paul?
17000. That's the account number. And that's in Fund 1,000, County General Fund 1,000.
We would take that.
We had $700,000 there.
Plus 300,000.
And then for the county, he's asking for 320,000. County. We had increased that $5,000.
they're in part of the road, all those.
Yeah.
Really have one, yeah. Got like for $11.
He may miraculously find it while it's gone.
And that's all for there.
Might be somewhere to.
Oh, please, don't do that with you.
Yeah, she did kind of go to discuss working, but I'm just, that's what the purpose, perhaps,
It's up by 11:30.
No, not yet, but
We're doing that one.
So-
Others too.
Something that Justin Ryan just said, so that building, we were paying for that out of human capital development.
You know, we never had that line item, once we do line item, account name. That should have been.
So, is it in 1176,
Well,
right?
that's what we need to find out.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, because it should have been.
Does it come
So,
out?
I think that's where I put it, that's like I put it, I never made it do, yeah, do a line item.
Right. And it would have never been transferred from one to the other, because that's a capital project, that would have been paid out of capital.
Okay, so that's going to throw us off right there, the 150 right there.
It's wrong last. What really cool is trying to be a
Celebrity there.
They do have Michael, that's why they couldn't see my.
Jason, want to do that then?
Well, I gotta wait till make sure that it's legal for me to do this, but we're gonna take this health insurance out of 1176 and put it over in the commissioner's budget where we've already got $700,000. We're gonna up that to $1 million, and then Mike said, we're going to take the others with it also out of 1176.
Is that gonna put us over that?
It is $567,000.
No, I mean, that budget can't be more than advertised.
Well, this is all housing advertising.
Your individual budget, like commissioner budget, you can't see that maximum number that you budgeted.
That's probably what's top.
Yeah.
What you advertise,
Yeah, it has to be done, you can't go above the advertised
they're gonna
area.
guess how many other items you cut.
Well, I don't know if we've got that much. Plus, if we didn't cut any, we're screwed on the bottom. We're gonna boots on the other side, because we gotta cut some, you gotta pay $1 somewhere. And that's normal when you're taking something out of highway, and putting it in county general, you're going the wrong direction.
By the way, within Iowa.
Exactly.
All right, but wait, I don't understand this advertised budget crap and everything else. Because if we would have, yeah, last year we took the mechanic and moved home. And we moved some other stuff.
But then we do those as additionals.
No.
We did this during the budget hearing?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going, last.
When we do additionals, you advertise the additionals.
Yeah,
where
they
you do what you
We
want.
did on those Thursday.
Well, wasn't there like some big expenditures though that we cut out last year for some reason, something that maybe wanted, I don't know. We had more play in the budget to do it. And you're talking about $400,000. That's a big number. But those salaries wouldn't have been that much, they'd been $100,000 maybe. That's a whole different animal. You can move 100,000 and stay in the budgets most of the time, you cut that much, basically.
Really? Broadcast it before you know what it is.
There is no, budgeting on any level is never exact science.
Well, I know that, I mean, you're publishing it.
Well, we cut $500,000 out of the commissioner's budget last year on healthcare.
And that's allowed us flexibility to be able to put some.
Put stuff back in.
But that would probably be, where did we put that? Well, that would have been in the commissioner. That was in the commissioner's budget, right? It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Really? No, I'm just saying, doesn't matter, that one just happened now.
No, that's not correct.
Yes.
It's the go through 59. It's a 49. That's the insurance, so it goes down to school. They don't want to force it. I think you want to have
Yeah, I'm always worried about right there.
No, that's not. In the past, but third, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. Those days. Then we started predicting what's going to be. I got It's like two, yeah. Well, it's actually.
I think that's somewhere. They work with them, they're signed up. Some of that big chapter.
So we took roughly $120,000 out of the commissioner's budget.
Well, we're just talking about the commission budget we got right now.
Basically, take $120,000 out of it. They need to transfer at least $124,000 of that health insurance back over here and not hurry.
Okay, so that building that we covered money for, and then they put it back in, that came out of community capital development.
Okay, so the additionals this year for the highway was $195,664. That is for 3 additionals. One was for the road equipment that was sold, the West Central Metro, which was around
So we put the
$53,000.
money back in there, so that would have covered that.
And the highway group and the lean building was $140,495. So you add all those up, that's $195,664.
So the building came out of 1176.
Yes.
The problem is, it was originally funded out of community capital development. Which is 1138, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So instead of the 458,000 in additionals, it should have been 195,664. So she's gonna send us a revised.
Okay, well, that makes the whole, but that building's still though. So we had not, we didn't let it go back in there, but when it went back in community capital development, where it came from,
If that's where it came out of and they didn't use it, then yes, it went back into that.
we used it. Every other.
So
We
that,
always have a balance. We have had a balance, and we never really.
so that added 262,336 to your highway to make it more of lesser than that.
So I still don't see how we can make $1 into the red after balance of last year though. And additionally, we budgeted through the sale of equipment, all that other stuff. Why that 700,000 number doesn't make sense to me. Because we cut to the bone last year to get in. To the point we moved Austin and all that other stuff. So
I think we have a problem. I want Paul to ask his original question.
You didn't remember?
Original question? My original question, if you're referring to this, was where the 3.5 million came from. So supposedly we'll be spending in 2025.
The original question was ice money money?
I can't read it.
Was it the ice money? Was you want to get help like ice money?
Yes.
The original question, that's what started all this. I don't think we ever did get an answer. I know we're looking, but I just wondered if there's any follow-up. I don't know anything about ice money, that's what I said.
it all goes to the county deal.
Yes, see?
We just, we must not see where we're at. My point is, well, we don't need to.
We just.
I mean, as far as the other stuff we talked about, the new equipment stuff, I mean, we can see if we have money in county deal, we can do that. But where it comes from, doesn't really, it's irrelevant. It's the county general balance.
We want to give you the help you need.
Yeah, I'd rather.
I drive all the equipment, it makes me sick, to be honest with you.
Right, that's already saying, we would be setting out, but I live in this county for all my life. You can't keep the roads. Everything nice and neat, clean. But that ain't good for working all the time. That's demoralizing to the employees. If you got to action all the time. Yep, it seriously is.
This new building you're building will house all the equipment.
It's gonna take care of,
a lot of our modern equipment and stuff that, no, it won't house all of it by no means, but it'll let us manage a lot of our stuff that we use all the time. It's very valuable, yes.
So if you got new equipment, you go to house it there, plus some other decent equipment.
Yes.
So kind of backstory on that building was, we originally appropriated money several years ago to do that. But the contractor that agreed to do the project basically never showed up.
That was a disaster, simply putting it bluntly, okay, it was a disaster.
And, you know, that's unfortunately, and sometimes you get out of contract, you get into situations.
So how much of the equipment would you setting out? Half of it or?
You know, you drive by, you see all the stuff, about 3/4 of that should be covered. So you see it out front, probably at least those 3/4 of that.
The thing about buildings are,
And then we kind of set up too, where we should, we add like another section of it too, eventually down the road, we have more money at. They kind of get that whole square in the front, would be covered.
Yeah, we set it up so it can definitely be added on to in later time when we have money. We just try to get it started, get what we can get, working there.
Because it is important to keep stuff, I don't know if you can, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know that.
my experience on the farm way to me, I guess, but even when you don't put something in a building, if you have to build a building to block the wind and the rain on one side, it helps.
The sun.
Literally, yeah, the sun gets shaded on the shade side, I mean, buildings are more than just what the interior provides, it's also sometimes what the exterior provides.
Absolutely. Like to see the value of that, because we also agree.
Sadly, but that building is store salt and sand in it, and we're just going to throw it out on the road, you know what?
Yeah, but it washes away.
Yeah, I know.
And you can park a couple things inside that building.
There ain't much room.
But you got, but you also gotta be careful too.
It's a nice road.
Yeah, the road stuff and
All the sensors and stuff, all this equipment.
Yeah. We'll put something old and decrepit in there, don't have to.
Larry, do you want
Do
to
you have
move
anything
on
to-
to irrigation restricted and the human range and all of that, get it out of the way?
Yeah, let's go ahead and some of these budgets.
Next up will be MVH restricted, and we should be okay on that. We increased stone and gravel $75,000. The next,
Restricted's got a positive balance.
yes, and according to what Lake Utility gave us, we're okay on that, okay? We increased the road materials from 500 to 600,000, and we're okay on that. Next is June Bridge, and according to Baker Tilly, we have to cut that. The bridge inspection for this year supposedly will cost us about $25,000, and that's an increase of $15,000. And then we increased bridge work from $400,000 to $450,000, that was $50,000, and I think what Baker Tilly says that we got to we started at Pew Bridge, we're
Says there's $192,000 in the hole. But if you have an $84,000 cash balance, you gotta cut it by.
we need to cut it according to my, on the bridge work, we got to cut it according to my figures, $385,000. Is that look right? Bridge was at $385.
So I should have tried to cut it more now. Yeah. So you have $84,000, this is projected cash balance at the end of the year, $84,000.
Right.
This says that you're gonna spend $430, and you're only gonna get $304.
You budgeted spending $475.
You see that cover 80,000 come back in?
You know, Larry, you and I are on different pages, so
No, you're the 25.
25.
I'm looking at 2026.
Yeah, the income for 2026 is $326,000.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And they got this 4,475.
Right.
Now, on this page that I have, it gives a total of 450, but that should be 475, right? Okay.
You're saying 475 is what you've got budgeted, Paul, which is the bridge inspection and the bridge work.
That should be 475, not this 450.
On mine, it says 475. On my utility sheet.
Right, but on this only gives 450, which is incorrect, should be 475. Tilly 475 is correct. Baker Tilly 475 is correct.
You don't have your bridge inspection on your printout?
Yes, 25,000.
So the 25,000 and the 450 is
Yeah.
the
But on this one, it's a total of only 450.
On what?
The fund, the total, it's still shows 450 at the bottom, that's.
Because that's the till, okay.
Yeah, so the total.
Yeah, we just added the till since we didn't have roll them. I mean, our total is at the bottom. Yeah,
So according to this, we need to cut 148,000, right?
right, it was 6,000.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, well,
just the.
148,998. Right. Still $7, but I would cut it 98, that's just $1.
Cash balance.
Okay, are you showing bridge work that we need to cut down to 301? Is that what they're showing?
Yeah.
301? It sure does.
So you're moving the bridge work from 450 to 301?
Yes, yeah. To make it come out with what Baker Tilly says it will be received on the streets, 326. Human capital development. Also, roll pay on that one. 430,000.
I want to see this, we actually, you've got, we levy the maximum amount we can. We can't get more money and it is what it is. And then that's used for any
So
capital.
we are at the highest level.
We are at the highest level. We raised it back up to the highest level several years ago. For years, it wasn't. Now we kind of kick ourselves for that because we never was able to build a balance. We did, but then we spent it on roof. There's the chiller maybe or something a couple years ago, or that. Whatever, probably get air conditioning, get air conditioning one for a minute here and all that stuff. So through the years, we've spent engagement, and it's not built back up, and we even, at one time, I think we took some money out, which we can do, but it didn't bridges, if I recall.
That bridge work in there right now.
Yeah, so
$400,000.
it is what it is.
And that building, are we going to put that back in that fund too?
Well, in theory, it should have already been in there, right? So it would have been in the balance. We never took it out of here and put it in the other, which is why that money was reduced our balances, which is part of the reason why we went into a bigger negative balance. Put down the wrong fund. We took it out of the 76 fund, and we should have took it out of this.
Local road and street, according to Baker Tilly, they need to cut that about 50,000, 51,000. Correct?
1,100.
It's gonna be less than what we had this year.
Was last year too. this is one of my constant gripes with our representatives. They raised the gas tax several years ago, and all they've done to us is reduce the amount of money we're getting.
You're totally correct.
Yes, that's totally correct. We have an interstate run right through the middle of our county. The only betters get the benefit off of the state of Indiana. We're in Wonder County.
So we went down to 500,000 in there.
I've got 449.
Yep.
I think we have to go with 449 if I.
490.
This is Little Road and Street, right?
Right. 499 is what the receipts are.
499, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. 499,000.
Yes.
Alright.
Except for 1176.
Why is it always an issue? Why is it always that you're going to the issue?
Well, that's, yeah. Major Chili doesn't like us.
Been to jail for two.
Probably because we always tell Major Chili every year, Commissioner really wants to switch to another firm.
But I mean, I think next year we can still help them after county general.
Yes. The problem is, listen up, Commissioner, everyone else. The problem is, you guys advertise a budget. You didn't have enough money in places where we could have possibly moved funds to from county general to help you.
You know why we did that? We were trying to be as conservative in our approach as possible.
I understand completely why you gotta do that, and honestly, we appreciate that, but
But the other thing is it gives us no flexibility to move it.
We shot ourselves in the foot.
We
So
shot
we
ourselves.
We
I
need
mean,
to take one fund and add $1 million to it.
I mean, like the sheriff, he needs to put vehicles in 2 funds. Okay, and then we can figure out where we want to spend the $200,000. He did that with the jail supervisor for $73,000, and we had a choice. And the choice made it so we could balance one of these crazy funds when we get money.
We can wipe it out of one.
We wipe it, and especially if it's one of these restricted funds that's on the budget sheet, we gotta be able to figure out how to move them around.
So, the stuff that we're talking about, right, we've got $1 million worth of insurance, over $1 million. If we had that in 2 budgets, in 2 of the commissioner budgets.
We could take.
the problem is, all that highway money stuff, they really can't do that to those. Because they're budgeting everything they get, because that's all they're getting.
Yeah, but that's what he's just saying,
So we
insurance.
had, the insurance was in 1176 and in the commissioner's.
So if they had it as $1 million on each.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't put $1 million in highway because they don't have the money.
Well, they're not gonna get the money, but we can figure out how much.
Yeah, but they can't budget more than their anticipated income period. And that's what they do on those highway budgets, because they spend all they get, because that's all they can do. It's different than a county.
But you
general.
could have bumped the county general one.
County general is when you got a fund, and maybe a couple
I
different.
understand what you're saying here.
Then you
To give you flexibility.
could, if you wanted to cut it, yeah, we can, but.
I mean, if it's not money in county general, we're gonna squeeze something out. But if it's in both buckets, or at least a chunk of it in each bucket, then we can move things around and, you know.
So in lieu of that, you're talking about appropriations for next year.
Yeah, and then, now here's the other thing that's still, that we can still do, but we did this last year, we've done it years past. So we leave one of those things that you want out, but we can tell you to come in on January 1st with an additional and ask for it. Because then we can advertise that new amount and we can vote for it then if you're okay. We have always been so conservative, and that's wonderful. I think it's one of the reasons why Clay County has always been so well budgeted and stuff. The negative aspect to that is when you actually have funds, what you could actually probably use elsewhere, because we've always been so used to having these really tight budgets, we don't leave ourselves any flexibility. And then you can't really, I mean, it's a good thing. We don't want to spend more than we have to. But yet on the other hand, it ties our hands because we can't, even though we might have the cash balance to do it. But you can do it for additionals.
So when you say conservative, are you talking about what we spend, what we take in?
It's kind of both, because we've always kept our taxes down.
That's what I'm asking. So is that biting us now?
Well, it's not, I don't think it's really biting us now, but I think it's going to when you get into these new, when they start taking property taxes and saying you can't tax as much, because I'll give you the one, the big news, I'll just tell you, and I can tell you these organizations, 75% of the income tax we collect on cash. So of the 1.35 that it is, 0.75 of it, it's not 75%, it's 0.75, the actual rate of that income tax we collect goes to offset property taxes on real estate. That's a large amount of money. We collect the income tax, but then we kind of disperse it back through property taxes through the back door, you might say, to lower everyone's property taxes. And I think what's going to happen, see this new, what they're after Senate Bill 1, they're really forcing all counties now to put more of their taxes into income tax. Well, we've been giving such a big property tax discount with our income tax. There are going to be people that we're going to have to take away those discounts on their property tax. And so even though the whole state is going to be lowering property taxes, Clay counties probably won't go down much. Because you're going to have to take that 0.75% and spend it on county general funds that we used to give for property taxes. Now, are we still going to be lower than the average county, in my opinion? Yes, but people are going to not like their income tax. Because it probably will be higher than some. Especially when they say, well, they lowered the property tax. But, well, compare your property tax bills to ours, and we'll talk about this, because normally we're always going to be the lowest. But we had a really good system. But, you know, I made, last public meeting, if you were there, I made a couple of our state legislators a little angry at me. Because what I said was, and I wasn't pointing fingers at them, by the way. When you have a state that's rural like Indiana is, but yet you have big hubs of people like Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Evansville, East Chicago, you know, even Richmond, Terre Haute, that are big population hubs, and they have so many votes, they control the legislation. And so when they control the legislation, you have a county that was named #1 in your state and number 21 nationally for tax efficiency, which to me is a huge number. That means that we had our taxes balanced in an efficient way, that we could properly fund education, we could properly fund our county itself. We were #1 state and number 21 out of all counties in 50 states. That's a pretty impressive thing to be able to say. And they're going to say, congratulations, Clay County. Now we're going to paint the whole state a different color, and you got to join us in the pink part. That's what they did to us. Because now we're going to have to change our complete structure of our taxes. Because the state has Hamilton County and counties that have a huge property tax bill, and Clay County has to help them out. That's what it really comes down to. And I had a couple, or well, one in particular, I don't know two, where state legislators were aggravated at me because they were like, you're saying we don't fight for it. And I said, that wasn't what I was saying at all. I said, you guys get outvoted. It's not that you're not trying. They get outvoted. I don't blame our local guys. They do try to get in there and fight for us, but they just get outvoted. It's funny, you know, Indiana's, the Senate is 65% Republican. The House of Representatives is, 65-70% Republican. So we have a huge Republican minority. But when it comes to voting for local issues for cities and municipalities, the Democrats and Republicans stick together like this. And the true conservatives, these guys have these little communities that live by conservative values, they get outvoted by our own parties in many cases. Why don't they count pickup trucks? Because Bruce counties have more pickup trucks than cities on totally good lives. Now, they'll say, well, we'll count lanes. Well, why would they want to do that? They got 4 lanes through every city in the state. We got little 1-lane roads out here, 1 lane. Everything they do is stacked against small counties. That's my sermon for the day, and everybody wants to go home. Let's
Like 59, there.
go 4 lane all the way to Lake City.
It's not
I know, at least till you get it. We are going to go into recess and we'll tomorrow morning at 9. Come in at 9. So it's, I can't remember. We have to go.
9 a.m.
Do what?
9 a.m.
Okay. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
We're nowhere close to
We got to talk about salaries. I didn't say we need to sleep on it.